Time for the Nationwide Series boys to take the stage. Coverage presented by Jack Daniels. We go to NASCAR Countdown and Nicole Briscoe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alan Bestwick. It's been a busy day in Richmond already. Because turn on the lights and turn up the intensity. The NASCAR Nationwide Series title is on the line in Richmond. Now, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has the most points. Elliott Sadler has the most experience. And Reed Sorensen has the all-too raw reminder that there is a very fine line between teammate and foe. But tonight, even the title fight will face a bit of a challenge from NASCAR's superstars. Some familiar, some already champions, and in one particular case, she is a one-name wonder. It's Danica versus Carl, Kyle, Kevin, and Brad. Under the lights at Richmond, the only question is whose name will command the most attention. Short track, short fuses, big names, and the fight for a spot in the record books. This is Richmond. It has already been, as we've been telling you all day long, a very busy day of racing action, and we're about to kick it off with an actual race. This is NASCAR Countdown from Richmond International Raceway, the 3/4-mile short track that is high on the list of favorites. Cars on the grid, drivers getting ready for what I am sure will be a very exciting night. This track is always high on the list, as we said, of favorites, as is the case for many of the drivers in the field tonight. And the driver sitting next to me, Mr. Rusty Wallace, a 6-time winner at this track. And inside the ESPN pit studio, I'm Nicole Briscoe, alongside Rusty Wallace and Brad Doherty. Why is this a place that everyone loves so much?
Well, it's a place they love so much because it's a short track, and you can race all over the racetrack, Nicole. You can talk to any driver down there, and all those drivers will tell you that they love coming to Richmond because it's easy to pass on the bottom, the middle, the top. And I can tell you, every time I've ever been here, guys, this place gets very, very intense. The drivers get up on the wheel. This night race, Brad, brings out the demons in everybody.
It really does, and simply because this short track races like a super speedway. It is so fast at this racetrack. You let the car roll through the corners, a lot of momentum, and as the sun goes down, the grip comes up, close quarters, beating, banging, getting after it. It's as good as it gets.
Not excited, are you?
It's as good as it gets.
Well, we cannot look forward to this race without taking a step back and looking back to what happened a week ago in Atlanta when two drivers from the same team tried for the same real estate.
One of NASCAR's fastest tracks, the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Very fast, and so many things happen so quickly. Well, this track's rough. You're going to see sparks fly all night.
Green flag racing here at Atlanta.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. blew by Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch.
Stenhouse slicing and dicing. Ricky Stenhouse wants a piece of the lead.
Talking of problems, Carl Edwards leaves the pit box with an air hose here, has to come back down pit road. Boy, it cost him a lot of time because he was first out.
Trouble. Several cars get together off the second corner.
Reed Sorensen, one of the top championship contenders, major damage.
Sorensen came into this race just 10 points behind. He ends up finishing 32nd place. He's now 40 back.
He just tore a race car up for us, so not happy about it, and I'll find him, I promise you.
And Elliott Sadler got a real break with the late caution, got some tires on the car, and was able to make up from nowhere to get back in the top 10.
It is crunch time. 19 laps to go. The green flag is back out, and it is going to be Carl Edwards taking the win here in Atlanta.
Awesome. Way to go, guys. Woo!
Back to the teammate drama. In the hours after the race, Justin Allgaier tweeted that he'd officially hit rock bottom. I wish I could get every second back. There is nothing worse than knowing I may have caused Reed the championship. Dave Burns, that was right after the race. What does Justin Allgaier have to say 1 week later?
Well, we have seen the tweets of remorse that you sent out after last week. So, big question is, have you had a chance to talk with your teammates, and are things resolved between the two of you?
Well, I think, as a team at Turner Motorsports, we obviously want to go hard at this championship, and last week was a dark day, but we've got a lot of room for growth. Talk to all the crew guys and apologize to all of them individually, and it's been a tough week, but at the same time, glad to have Dollar General on the car this weekend. Even though things happen the way that they did, we're glad to have two cars this weekend. I have Reed going for the $100,000 for the Dash for Cash. So got a lot of good things to look forward to, and as a team, we're gonna work really hard together. together and try and push him up to try and win this championship. And obviously we're still mathematically in it, so we're going to go for that. But can't thank all of our partners at Turner Motorsports enough for all the support and all the crew guys. I think that was one of the best parts about this week, is that we all came together as a team, and that says a lot, especially in tough times. And I think that's a perfect fitting concept for this week. Obviously the 9/11 memorial, a lot of the cars you see out here have something on them, and I think that says a lot. A lot of veterans that are here that are wounded as well. So it's a great weekend, and hopefully we can get all 4 of our Turner Motorsports cars up front and have a good night.
All right, good luck tonight, Justin. Let's go to Jamie Little.
And Reed Sorensen was on the receiving end of that ordeal last Saturday night. And you said on a radio station, I heard you the other day, you said that's something I will never forget. Where do you stand now with Justin and with the situation?
Well, I mean, that's something that, the bad part is we can't get the points back. That's what frustrates myself and our team the most. And that's something that I wasn't okay with what happened. I thought it was a pretty bad deal with the teammates and all. And it's something I'll probably never be okay with. So for us, we're going to look to the future. I got a chance to win $100,000 tonight from that Nationwide Insurance puts up for us. So I'm really excited about that. We've won 2 of them already, so hopefully we can make it 3 in a row. And we're going to try our hardest to get these points back. I'm not giving up by any means. Our race team's not giving up. Try to get this Dollar General car another shot at winning this championship. So we're going to put it behind us, focus on the future, and start it off tonight by trying to get this $100,000.
And you're 40 points back now. Your crew chief told me today that changes your guys' approach from now until the end. What does that mean in your eyes?
Well, pretty much all year we've been really consistent, and last week was pretty much the worst thing that's happened to us all year. So we're going to try to be, I guess, a little more aggressive on things. We do have to make up a lot of points, which is a situation we haven't been in all year. We've always been right there, within almost 10 points the whole year. So it is a little different situation. So we're going to treat it a little differently, and we might make some pit calls that might put us up in the front and be different the rest of the year. So we'll get the Dollar General car up there.
Keep fighting. They're definitely not out of it. He'll roll off 17th tonight. Nicole?
Well, you heard Reed just say it. They're going to treat this a little bit differently, because when it was all said and done last Saturday, Reed was left facing his largest point deficit of this season. He lost 20 points to Ricky Stenhouse in Atlanta. He's now 40 behind the leader. And for the record, that was Sorensen's 4th straight finish outside the top 10. But Rusty, let's go back to that incident. From your perspective, as someone who's been in the car before, what happened?
He just got real aggressive. I'll tell you, let's take a look at a piece of video here. And I want you to listen to this first.
Yes, see, he's on it.
Yeah, he's on it. He bumped into him and then jumped right back in the throttle. I mean, the tough deal was, Nicole, he could have touched him, got out of the throttle, let him get back in shape, and get back after it. I mean, that was a teammate. Look, this was a tough deal. Yeah. And the worst thing in the world, guys, is that it's a teammate. Steve Turner was so upset it was unreal.
And he should have been. He should have been.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, let me know. This is a tendency I've noticed about Justin Allgaier since he's come from the ARCA series, where he was a tremendous racer. Roger Penske gave him an opportunity. And the thing I've noticed about him, he is a hard-nosed racer. And that's what's gotten him to this point. He will race you as hard as anyone on the racetrack. And I think he was just racing his teammate too hard at that point in time. Now, it's all said and done behind him. He realizes that. But he's cost his teammate a great opportunity with his aggressive racing.
But let's not also forget, Allgaier is a player in this championship. Right now, he is 5th in points. He is 69 points behind Stenhouse. Sorensen, as we've said, is 40 back. How do you see what happened a week ago affecting at least Sorensen's ability to win the championship?
Well, no doubt about it. It's a gigantic setback. That's all you can say. If it's just a big setback, there's nothing good come of it. Now, the only thing this guy can do is just drive his butt off. That's all he can do, is just drive hard and get on the wheel and try to make those points up, because the damage is already done right now. They're obviously not getting along. The car owner's got to get them all together. Everybody's all mad at each other, but it'll get better.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, Reed Sorensen has reacted to this like he's had a huge kick in the gut. And I heard him yesterday. We were down there listening to him talk, and he said this will affect him forever. not
forever.
So this is here, and you can see in his demeanor, this bothers him to the core. So now I think they're done. I think these guys, both he and Allgaier, are done. We're at a racetrack tonight where they got to race around one another. They got to watch out for one another. You got to be aggressive here, and Allgaier's going to have to back off not to run over his teammate.
Man, he's
going to be thinking about that.
He's 40 points behind. That's a long way from what he was.
Yeah.
But there are 8 races to go, including tonight.
I'm telling you, his demeanor at this point in time is he is a defeated young man. And it's too bad to see because he's a heck of a race car driver. He's got a heck of a chance. But he better get his head up if he's going to get in this game.
Get back on that horse, right?
You better get back and ride.
How that plays out tonight. We have some other news to talk about when we come back on NASCAR Countdown. Of course, KHI, Kevin Harvick Inc., has been a player in NASCAR, a staple for a long time, a decade, but that is all changing. We'll tell you what Kevin Harvick has to say about selling his team next as we roll on from Richmond.
NASCAR Nationwide Series Countdown, presented by One Main Financial. Your needs, your goals, your dreams. And in part by Best Western, the world's biggest hotel family.
Sunday morning, NFL Countdown kicks off at its new time of 10 a.m. for 3 hours of NFL news and information with some of the top NFL insiders. Join Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Bill Parcells, and others Sunday at 10 a.m. Of course, it all starts with SportsCenter at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Meanwhile, welcome back to Richmond, Virginia, and NASCAR Countdown presented by One Main Financial. A little football down on the grid. Awfully fitting. Hey, Kevin Harvick Inc. has made its debut at this track in the Truck Series back in 2001. Harvick drove the truck and finished second. The first win came a year later at Phoenix. Along the way, there have been wins in the Nationwide Series, 10 of them, 39 in the Truck Series, and 2 championships with Ron Hornaday, most recently in 2009. And now there is a new owner. It was announced this week. Richard Childress Racing has purchased KHI. Jamie Little?
That's right. They announced they are getting out of the business of owning race cars and trucks. Why the decision to do that? It came as a shock to many.
Well, it's a good decision for Delane and I, first off, and I think second off, we still have a great opportunity to be involved at RCR with everything on the Nationwide side. So with Richard doing what he's doing with the Nationwide stuff, and for us, it was a good move to get more time on our hands and do some things that we wanted to do, but still be involved on the ownership side with the 2 Nationwide cars with Richard. So I'm excited about it.
And you get the best end of the deal because you still get to race the car. You guys were dominant at this racetrack last year, at this very race. You guys qualified 13th, not like you did last year. What do you expect out of the race car?
Yeah, 12th, 13th is kind of my spot at this racetrack, qualifying-wise. But, the car hasn't driven as good as I'd like it to drive. Hopefully we've made some good adjustments on our Rheem Chevrolet to make it drive better tonight. But I didn't race the first race here, and they had very few cars on the lead lap. Green flag pit stops, all kinds of crazy stuff compared to what you normally see here. So we'll see how the race plays out, and you got to have a car that turns better than most because none of them turn very good.
All right, Kevin Harvick knows how to get around here. 5-time winner. Let's go over to Vince Welch.
With Elliott Sadler, and he's talking golf with Golf Hall of Famer Nancy Lopez on here. We're going to talk a little bit of racing in the mix for the championship here. 12 points. I know you probably were. Work on that drive. Yeah. Speaking of the drive, are you feeling a little more urgency toward the championship here as the races are winding down?
Well, definitely. I mean, we can't afford to give up any more points. We have to do our job here the next couple of races and put some pressure on the 6 bunch and the 32 and try to get ourselves back to the lead because you want to be leading the points. I mean, that's where you want to be. But it's such a tight battle right now, and it has been the last couple of months. So we're here at my home track here in Richmond. We're running for the Dash for the Cash. A lot of cool things going on with our race team right now. So hopefully the One Main Financial Chevrolet will be good tonight. And I'd rather win here than any other racetrack we race at, so hopefully we'll have ourselves a good night.
So maybe get a win and also pick up a couple of golf tips from Nancy Lopez, LPGA Hall of Famer. 48 career wins. How about that?
That's awesome. I was just telling her I got to play golf tomorrow, and I'm trying to look for some tips, and you interrupted me.
Well, we'll get you back to business then, Nicole.
Well, for the record, Sadler is going to be in that 2 car next season. It, of course, will just be with a different owner. And I know, Brad, you are disappointed by this KHI news.
I really am. I'm such a huge fan of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. I love watching that series, and I love watching our Nationwide Series. And Kevin and Delana Harvick have built something so special from the ground up. A lot of hard work, elbow grease, and sweat went into this program. And I was looking forward to them going Cup. I thought it would be such a huge success story, and what they would have accomplished would have been unsurmountable. It would have been unbelievable unbelievable. But I'm disappointed they're going away. They've done a great job.
I'm still confused about why he's quitting. I really am a little bit. I'm not clear on that one yet. But, it's good for other people, though. It's good for Austin and Ty Dillon. I mean, those guys can jump in that car, right?
Yeah.
And also, there's going to be a lot of other stars coming on.
That's right.
I hate to see this team go, but whatever they got to do, they got to do to be able to spend some more time, him and his wife, and enjoy themselves. And focus more on that Cup car. That's going to help them.
Well, you did say a little bit earlier, produce other stars.
Yeah.
Like Austin and Ty Dillon, maybe. This series is supposed to produce stars. And speaking of stars, maybe in the making, you'll see a few of them on this list. You've heard the drivers say it a few times tonight, the nationwide dash for cash. It's Sorensen, Stenhouse, Sadler, and Josh Wise. It's a money night for those four. The highest finishing eligible driver in tonight's race gets a $100,000 bonus. That's not bad. Doc, I'm pretty sure Ricky Stenhouse would be happy with that payday.
Well, Ricky, you won twice at Iowa, and here in the spring in April, you almost won, running second with a few laps to go. Why are you so good on these three-quarter-mile racetracks?
I wish I knew the exact answer, but one of the reasons I really like these short track races is you got to use the brake, you got to get off the throttle. There's a lot of things you can do from inside the cockpit to change how your race car drives, whether you're loose or you're tight. So I feel like it's a driver's racetrack, and it just seems to kind of fit my style a little bit better.
8 races to go. Your point margin went from 5 to 13 now. Is that enough for you to be able to take a deep breath and relax just a bit?
Nah, I don't think you can ever relax here, especially in the Nationwide Series. Nationwide Insurance has done such a good job at, just putting everything together, and it's a tough race out there. We, Elliott Sadler is a great competitor. Reed Sorensen, those guys aren't slow. So we got to stay consistent, stay up front. And I think we can put our Fast and Old Mustang in victory lane tonight. We got remembering the 911 and a tribute car this weekend. So it'd be a huge honor to put that in victory lane. And we got Flight 93 on our car. So a lot of good stuff going on with our Fast and Old Mustang this weekend.
Hey, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Points leader, Ricky Stenhouse.
When we come back, she's back. It's Danica Patrick's first race since the announcement that this series will be her home in 2012. But what are her expectations tonight here at Richmond? That is next when we roll on.
NASCAR Nationwide Series Countdown, presented by One Main Financial. Your needs, your goals, your dreams.
In 2010, Danica Patrick made 13 Nationwide Series starts. She never finished better than 19th. This year, she's made 7. She scored a top 5 at Vegas, was in the top 10 at Chicago and Daytona, where she led in both races. Tonight is her Richmond debut in this Nationwide Series car. Vince?
It's our 8th race of the season here in the Nationwide season. Going to be here full-time next year. But as you approach these final 5 races, what do you hope to get accomplished in these last handful of races to set the foundation for next year?
For me, I think it's just getting laps at tracks that I've never been to in these cars. I'm frustrated. I obviously didn't have a great qualifying, but if I think back to Phoenix the first time, or Gateway, or Loudon, or any of the short tracks that I've been to so far, outside of, I guess, Bristol, which could have been a total disaster, but wasn't, it's been a struggle. I just finding the limit and figuring out the car, and, then I went back to Phoenix for a second time, and I finished 17th, and by the end of the race I was running top 10 speed, which is okay for me because I have a long way to come. So, tonight, stay clean. I think maybe top 10 or 15 might be a little, I don't know, if the race is just straight or, very basic without any crazy strategies, that might be tough. But, top 15, top 20 with a solid race and running a good pace at the end. Maybe I get down in the beginning, but, have the GoDaddy car running a respectable speed at the end, I think we'll be good. So.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Danica Patrick. Let's go to the Craftsman Tech Garage with Tim Brewer. Tim, some of the other challenges that Danica might be facing tonight.
Thanks, Vince. Every driver in the field tonight is going to face the challenge of keeping the front brakes cool on the car. Now, naturally, we're going to use a lot of brake ducts to conduct airflow to this caliper. But the area right here is the brake rotor. You're going to see them glowing red tonight. They're going to be about 1,300 degrees. And when the car's not handling, the driver's going to get really aggressive with them. But when they get aggressive, this bead right here, that's what seals the air in the tire to the wheel. And if you get real aggressive tonight, you're going to see a lot of people melt the bead. And that's going to happen tonight, sooner or later.
Tim Brewer, brakes obviously could play a role in what we see tonight. What else do you think it's going to take to win this race?
Now, to win this race, you do have to take care of those brakes. You ready, Brad?
Yeah.
Take care of your brakes. Don't tear them, okay? I mean, if you're loose, you're going to have to use your brakes to slow the car down. Okay? If you're tight, you're going to use the brakes to slow the car down. So you can tell the brakes are going to be an issue. But to win this race, you can't spin the tires up off the corner. That's the most important thing about this particular track, folks. You got to have a tight car up off of turn 2, a car that doesn't spin the tires off of turn 4, get a lot of forward bite. Another thing you need to do, don't be afraid to use the top of the racetrack. There's a lot of momentum up there.
Yes, sir.
These cars don't have a lot of horsepower, and you can't be afraid to get up there and dig.
You know what's interesting is my answer to that. The two guys I've talked to in the past who've told me a little secret about short track racing are two of the best ever. Denny Hamlin has been awesome at this racetrack, and the other one is the old Iron Man, Jack Ingram, who is my all-time favorite in the Nationwide Series. But both of those guys talking about short track racing, especially Richmond, said you have to let that car roll. Stay off of those brakes like Tim Brewer's talking about, because if you're wearing that brake out, just like he showed us, that bead goes away. The tire gets too much air in it, and you blow right front tires. You got to let it roll, keep the momentum up, and you go faster when you're rolling as opposed to jamming on the brake, hitting the throttle.
That's a good point.
Has won in this Nationwide Series at this track before. He is not in the field tonight. There are, however, 8 other double-duty drivers. 5 of them account for 12 wins at this track, and one of them also happens to be the pole sitter. That is Brad Keselowski, who is downstairs with Dave Burns.
So let me move that double-duty question forward. He spent 124 laps in his Sprint Cup car on the track today. What did that teach you that might help you in your Nationwide car tonight?
Well, you're always learning something, but, probably just, how to get in a rhythm and be a little smoother. I've ran here quite a few times now, so I got a pretty good feel for the racetrack, but it's always good to get that refresher on how to be just a little bit smoother.
Congrats on your first pole. Good luck in the race.
Thank you, and, I hope we can win. If we win today, it's free hamburgers for everybody that registers on RubyTuesday.com, RubyTuesdayRacing.com, so free hamburgers. That's pretty cool.
Nicole, Brad, Rusty, okay with that? Free burgers if he wins?
Got to keep that away. There will not be free burgers.
Some free ones in if you don't win.
I'm getting my computer out right now.
So Brad Keselowski, obviously a driver to watch tonight. He's won here before. He starts on pole. Who else are you watching tonight, Rusty?
Oh, I'm watching Jamie McMurray. I mean, this guy, he's back in the one car for James Finch. He qualified great in the Cup race. He knows how to win these races. McMurray, he's pretty wide open. And you know what? That car is kind of cool looking.
That's good looking.
I like that car.
I like the matte black.
Woo, flat black.
That's
mean, man.
You walked him down there, hungry man.
Yeah, I am watching Jason Leffler. Jason Leffler has been told by his team at Turner Motorsports that he doesn't have a ride there next year. He's a heck of a stalwart in this series. Need to have him back. Let's see what he can do from that 11th spot. Got a lot to prove tonight.
Will be interesting to watch. And oh, by the way, the championship should come into play at some point as well. More. Oh, look at that sunset. It's going to be a perfect night for racing, and that's what we will do next. Is 15th. He's looking to keep that momentum going, gain some strength. There is also the driver who has been the best over the last 6 weeks. That's Aric Almirola. Tonight he will start 16th. They're ready. Are you? Let's go trackside.
As the Joint Services Color Guard from Fort Lee, Virginia, presents our nation's colors. Here to deliver tonight's invocation, please welcome from the Virginia Christian Alliance, Chaplain Joe Ellison.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we thank you tonight for this sport that we love so much, NASCAR. Lord, we thank you for your divine protection over each driver. Thank you, Lord, for protection. And Lord, tonight we thank you for America. We thank you for the many brave men and women who serve our country around the world. We ask you, Lord, not to forget them and bless them. And we give you all the praise and we'll give you all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Let all of God people say amen.
Please remain standing as singer-songwriter and Nashville recording artist Celeste Kellogg performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The Stars and Stripes, the anthem, even more meaning this weekend as we remember what happened 10 years ago. You'll see lots of 9/11 tributes on the cars tonight as well as tomorrow night. On the racetrack, 250 laps. Brad Keselowski is your pole sitter, and he will lead the field to green coming up after this break.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Richmond, presented by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. Live freely, drink sensibly. And in part by Kingsford Charcoal. Go to grilling.com and tell us where you're tailgating this weekend.
Back at Richmond International Raceway, we're ready to go under the lights again for race 27 of this 34-race NASCAR Nationwide Series season, and it should be a good one because, of course, the title is on the line. And Marty Reed, if this week is any indication because of what happened last week, we are certainly in for a good one.
Yes, Nicole, and hello again, everybody, and we're glad that you're with us as the weather is finally cooperating here at Richmond after a rough week in Atlanta, especially on the Sprint Cup side. Let's focus in on Reed Sorenson because earlier in the week on Sirius NASCAR Radio, he sounded like he was a defeated man. You heard what Brad said. He felt like right now he's discounting his chances. I want to talk to you two. What does this guy got to do to rebound and get refocused and get back into this?
He's doing it right now, getting buckled back in this race car. That's the best medicine you can have. You know, as you have time outside the race car to think about things, how bad it is it impossible to overcome? Yeah, it's easy to sit and look at that. But if you look at the numbers, he has 8 races, counting tonight, to make up this 40 points. They have the race team and the driver to get this done. I'm sure his owner and crew chief have talked to him about it, and they're ready to go make things happen starting here tonight.
And they've done a lot of great things. This Turner team has. They've done it together. And it was a mistake. I mean, Justin Allgaier made a mistake, and they just got to get through it, get past it, and look at what we've got to do. He's got 40 points he's got to make up. He's got 8 races to do it. It's not impossible. So it was a big task anyway. So just get to work and go racing.
Let's show you just how possible it is for Reed Sorenson to get back into this. Let's go back just a little while ago when Reed was leading by 31 over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That was after the Daytona race in July. Then look what happened in the next 4 races. Stenhouse Jr. ended up taking the lead by 3. So it's just 4 races. He's got 8. How about the fact that we have got a very, very tough field tonight? You heard about the number of wins in the field, like just in the first couple of rows. Show you some statistics that'll back this up because this is what these guys are going to have to fight right there. Look at the average finish. And Harvick, Edwards, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Kenny Walker, they've all won here.
Well, it's going to be, we've got some great talent. It's going to be a great race, and we got a bunch of great short track drivers. You know, Kevin Harvick's coming in here with the best average finish, and I think he's going to have a great shot.
Yeah, as I said before, as a driver, you only look at those stats when they benefit you. You don't worry about them if they're against you here. So these guys are just going to go out. Going to be a great short track race here tonight.
We got about 10 seconds. Who's going to win this race tonight? DJ?
I have to go with Kyle Busch.
Me too.
All right, well, let's go trackside to fire the engines and get this race underway.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Emmy-nominated writer and producer, Karen Hall.
Drivers, start your engines!
Yes, sir, right here. Got me. Fire in the hole. Got you good. Started up, bud. Was it channel 2 here, Greg? Channel 2 for Scott. We are on channel 1.
So the engines come to life on the 43 cars out of the 49 that have made the field. And right, we had 6 that went home. We'll show you those in just a few moments. But as we get ready now, and you can see from high above, fans continuing to file in, there is the 32 of Reed Sorensen. Going to be a little confusing tonight because the 31 of his teammate Justin Allgaier is also in that Dollar General yellow. But he's our in-race reporter. And we'll talk to the man who is in for grabs in the Nationwide Dash for Cash when we come back. Remember back at Daytona in July, the first Dash for Cash for the Nationwide money? Well, it was Reed Sorensen. He was the best of the group that was eligible. He picked up the $100,000 prize, went on to do it again at Iowa, and there he is pulling off. He is the only one that could potentially win the $600,000 bonus if he can win here and then again at Charlotte. All right, as Brad Keselowski comes up as your pole sitter, it's his 3rd pole this year, all in the last 5 races, 11th of his career. We've also had 6 DNQs. We'll put those drivers on the screen for you. It's one of the largest fields we had trying to make it here at the NASCAR Nationwide Series this year. There are the 6 that did not make the field. Nobody going to be going to the rear. So let's check in with our in-race reporter. How about it, DJ?
Hey, Reed, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Yes, sir. Got you loud and clear.
Hey, buddy, here's your 3rd opportunity at this Nationwide Dash for Cash. You've taken the $100,000 in these first 2. Got enough to do it tonight?
I think we got a real good shot. We had a pretty good car in practice. Didn't qualify very good, but I do think we have a good race car, and hopefully make it 3 in a row here. These guys are pretty excited to have this opportunity from Nationwide. So we'll work hard on this Dollar General car all night and hopefully be there at the end and try to get that 3rd one.
All right, Reed, our next question comes from our mailbag, and Chris in Deerfield, New Hampshire asked, when racing at a short track like Richmond, how hard is it for a driver to remain calm and not lose their temper with their crew chief or another driver?
Well, it can be tough sometimes. Tempers usually get a little bit worse here at short tracks just because you're battling so hard each and every lap, and you just gotta think of the big picture, and that's normally what I try to do, and stay calm and depend on my spotter and crew chief to keep me calm as well.
All right, buddy, you stay calm. Have a good night now. Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Trent Owens.
Hey, Trent, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, simple.
Trent, this track was green when you guys started on it this morning and did all your practicing before the Cup cars got on it. Did you think the track has gone through a big change with that, and now that it's gotten dark, what do you expect?
No, it could have, but, even with our 2 practice sessions, I don't think it was enough to get it completely rubbered up. So, our plan was to use that first practice, go with the temperature, hope the temperature is equal, and set our car up around that way. So, like Reed said, I think we got a good car here in the race, especially for the long run, so we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, Trent, and tell Reed to take it easy on the crew chief, man. We got feelings, too, Good luck.
Yes, sir. I hear you.
Big smile on Trent's face. Let's show you the rest of our onboards. We've got a slew of them for you. One with Elliott Sadler in the 2 car, then Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Danica Patrick. We've already talked to Reed, Kevin Harvick, Jason Leffler, Stephen Wallace, and Eric Almirola. Let's get the final updates from pit lane. And Dave, you're up first.
Marty, Kenny Wallace has been on the gas this year, and boy, does it show. Last year at this time, he was 17th in the points. Now, he is 7th in the points. Unfortunately, the last 4 races have not gone that well, and his average finish has been 25th. The 4 before that, his average finish was 8th. I talked to Kenny today about that. He said, we are a much better team than we've been showing lately, and we just need to stop the points bleeding. Perhaps he's got that started with a 5th-place qualifying effort tonight. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, 19-year-old Ryan Truex making only his 2nd of 6 scheduled starts in the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, qualified 10th, but issues on the start. A moment ago, the car fired up and then shut off. They had to raise the hood and put a backup ignition box in that Toyota, and that means this young man, who already has limited experience here, will have to go to the rear and start dead last. Jamie.
The young Trevor Bayne is working with his crew chief, Chad Norris, now just the 3rd race together, and Chad told me today the team has already been hitting their stride. They were top 4 in both practice sessions and in qualifying, and they believe they will stay there tonight. Let's go to Vince Welch.
Carl Edwards is good everywhere, always a threat to win, but their short track program has been missing its mark lately. So crew chief Mike Beam brought a brand new race car here to Richmond tonight. In fact, they were in the wind tunnel on Wednesday, had to rush to get it finalized and get it here to Richmond. Carl said it's fast, but the balance doesn't feel good. That's something Beam will have to work on in the race tonight if they're to win. Marty?
All right, Vince, pace car is pulling down, and we're getting ready to go, and it is up front. Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards. As we go, here we come to the start. The Virginia 529 College Savings 250 is green. Keselowski picks up right where he left off in qualifying, out in front, side by side for second place.
Yeah, we're just going to see how good that outside groove or that second groove, which nobody's really running today, is as Carl Edwards tries to battle Kyle Busch down on the inside.
16 of Trevor Bayne is fourth, right behind his teammate Carl Edwards. Then in fifth place it is Kenny Wallace. And there you see Ricky Stenhouse in sixth.
Kyle really drove his car off down into turn 3, but couldn't get back to the gas. That opened up the door for Edwards to go to the inside. Now try to take that second spot away.
It's a real tricky racetrack. You see coming off turn 2 how tight it is, but then coming off turn 4, even though it does open up, it seems like you've got cars that almost hit the wall all the way to the start-finish line. See Kyle Busch up there working that outside on Edwards.
While all this action goes on, we'll let you know that the 71 of Matt Carter has taken it behind the wall. And also, Dennis Setzer is getting service on pit road. They're putting 4 fresh tires on that car.
Well, you can see how Kyle Busch really got a run on that second groove off of turn 2. Was able to clear Carl Edwards. Looked like he was going to get a little piece of Brad Keselowski there.
Dodge, Toyota, then 2 Fords in your top 4.
Just watching this line that Kyle Busch is running. I'm not sure if he's really trying to pass Keselowski or if he's trying to work that second groove in.
Carl's underneath him and gets through and takes over that second position. So bump the 18 back to third. Now that 18 car really didn't practice that well, but boy, when it taped up for qualifying, he went right to the top of the charts and then qualified very well earlier today.
Yeah, but they weren't racing in the sunlight they have today, so I think that we're going to see a different car here tonight. They're usually pretty spot on when it comes time to race.
It's like Jamie McMurray and James Finch's number 1 is on the move.
That is a battle side by side with Stephen Wallace for the 7th spot on the racetrack. And there you see Elliott Sadler. He too is eligible for the Nationwide Dash for Cash money. It is Sadler, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Reed Sorensen, and Josh Wise. How about a battle for the lead? Here comes Carl Edwards side by side with the 22 of Keselowski.
Yeah, normally this would be just a situation that bottom side, Carl Edwards there. See a battle for third, fourth, and fifth all together right here.
Boy, Stenhouse and Trevor Bayne got awfully close together, and here we go as a nose gets ahead for the 60. Can he close? And yes, he does. Takes the lead.
Yeah, kind of what we expect is that bottom groove to be the dominant one here tonight.
So Brad Keselowski led the first 8 laps, and now Carl Edwards becomes our second race leader. Behind those two, it's Kyle Busch, Stenhouse, Bayne, Kenny Wallace, McMurray, Wallace, Stephen Wallace, Elliott Sadler, and Jason Leffler. That's your top 10. We've knocked down 10 of 250 laps here at the race at Richmond, presented by Jack Daniels. Beautiful sunset at Richmond International Raceway. As we check our Goodyear track facts, we only had 3 cautions, if you remember, back at the race in April. Just 12 caution laps. So what jumps out at you guys?
Well, I think I always like to take a look at the corners and the banking, and that's what allows these drivers to carry the speed that you need through the center. But you're going to just try to be on the bottom of the racetrack of those corners throughout this entire race.
Well, let's reset it for you because Carl Edwards is in front of Brad Keselowski by just over half a second. Then Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is in fourth. Doc, what are you hearing from the sixth camp?
Well, the points leaders crew chief Mike Kelly a moment ago added some very special perspective in terms of the overall big picture. Listen in.
Remember, tonight we're racing for a lot of different reasons, Ricky. We're racing for points first and mostly. We're racing for $100,000. We're racing for the memory of this Flight 93 and all these people that give so much for us to do what we want to do. I want you to race hard, but race smart. Take care of your car. Remember, we get no points till lap 250.
There is not a major league sport anywhere as patriotic as NASCAR. And tonight, so many of these teams remembering those that sacrificed and made the ultimate sacrifice 10 years ago. Flight 93 among them. Right?
You're right, Doc. On the remembrances, the special paint schemes, all in tribute to this 10th anniversary of that tragic day. We've knocked down 19 of 250 laps. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. right now in control of that $100,000 dash for cash. As we drop farther back, the 32 and the 31. Reed Sorenson, Justin Allgaier, 16th and 17th positions. And we told you they were both in Dollar General livery. Reed right in front of Allgaier. Let me guess. I think Allgaier's going to give him lots of room tonight.
I think you're right. I think he felt really bad about what happened in Atlanta.
A little bit farther back in the field. Let's pick it up on Ryan Truex. Remember, he had the issue at the very beginning of the race. Had to start at the back of the field, and he has really made some progress. Look at where he is there by lap 20 up to 21st position. Now, this is what happened before the start.
You can see a crew member there getting an extra ignition box ready to put in the car. They have that on the dash right there. Replace it and get him going.
Well, let's check in with Dr. Jerry Punch. What's the latest you're hearing on that 20 car?
Well, you said it, Marty. From 42nd to 20th in 20 laps. He has gained 22 positions. And remember now, he's just 19 years old, making his 12th start of the year. Very inexperienced, but incredibly composed, given the fact they had a problem where the car just cranked up and then shut off completely. Now, how'd they fix it? To show you exactly what they did, listen to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Doc. The cars are equipped with 2 ignition boxes. How we control that is with a switch. But these guys are very weight conscientious at these short tracks, so you probably didn't have but 1 box in there, so they had to replace it. But when you have the boxes, by flipping the switch from A to B, you change more than the boxes themselves. Out here is the ignition, the distributor in the front of the engine. But we changed that switch. We can actually change both leads and the distributor. By changing the leads in the distributor, we change the pickup. So we can change the entire system by changing that if we're not that weight conscientious. Marty?
And as you finish up, the 20 goes around the 40 of Josh Wise. And Josh Wise, the 4th competitor in that dash for cash. He qualified after that great run in Iowa in the 7 car. And he's not really much of a contender in that 40. Even he admits it, as that car just a low-budget operation, but he's given it yeoman's effort. Right behind him in the 62 is Michael Annett. Where is our race leader? Well, Carl Edwards has knocked down 26 laps, and his lead now over Brad Keselowski is 1 second. And this is the 300th time Carl Edwards has led a Nationwide Series race in his career. NASCAR Now presented by 5 Hour Energy. You'll see it tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2, and then our Sprint Cup Series from here at Richmond tomorrow night, 7 Eastern on ABC. NASCAR Now tomorrow, 11 Eastern on ESPN2, and the Nationwide Series next stop at Chicago next Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. That was Carl Edwards getting a lap, or putting Danica Patrick a lap down. That means there's 27 cars on the lead lap out of this race. Mark Green, Riggs, Chase Miller, Brian Keselowski. 3 other cars are off at this moment. Let's get an update on the 7, Doc.
Well, Danica Patrick just going a lap down. You see some of the cars going by, Brad Kay going by. But talking to Tony Eury Jr., he was talking to Danica before she got in the car and explained to her, this is a night where it's all about learning. This is an investment for the future, like putting money in the bank, waiting a year, waiting for it to grow and develop. Tonight for you, it's about learning at Richmond. First time here in a stock car, developing the line, understanding what the tires and track are going to do. Don't worry about who goes by you or where you finish. Good advice from Tony Jr., but awfully tough for Danica Patrick, who's a very, very competitive race car driver, having to go down a lap this early.
And as you finish up, Doc, 3 more cars are now officially out of the race. Jeff Green, Tim Andrews, and Dennis Setzer. There is Kyle Busch. He is going around Danica now. Kyle in 3rd. He is 1.9 seconds behind the race leader. In 4th, it is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Trevor Bayne rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, just like they were saying there, this is a learning night for Danica. This is different type racing than what she's seen at some of the other places. But I think before this night's over, she'll get a much better feel for what this is about, how aggressive you can and need to be to run these fast laps at this racetrack in race conditions.
When she ran Indy cars here 5 times, 4 of them, she was in the top 10. And in those cars, you can flat-foot it around here. Obviously, you can't do that in a stock car. Checking back in on Roush Fenway Racing as there is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. approaching Danica. And here comes the 16 of Trevor Bayne getting around Blake Cook in the 81. Kenny Wallace, he is the man running in 6th place. Kenny got another good run going here. This is his 34th start here in the Nationwide Series at Richmond.
Well, I've been watching his monitor. He's had the fastest lap on the track quite a few times the last 10 laps. We've had the leaders in traffic, a lot of traffic, so it could be part of it, but he does have a fast car.
And doing a nice job here at the start of the race of keeping himself in contention, not putting himself in harm's way, so to speak, to start with, but right here with the 2 Roush cars.
And he's got almost a second lead over that car, the one of Jamie McMurray, as McMurray shown in 7th position, a full second ahead of the 8th place car, Stephen Wallace. And there you see Stephen as he comes into view.
Seen Stephen has some really good solid runs here at this racetrack in years past. Looks like tonight's another one of those, solidly up in the 8th position right now.
How about the battle for 17th? That's right, the 20 of Ryan Truex. This young man is making a statement here, coming from the back of the field, and he is side by side with Justin Allgaier. On the right side of your screen, the battle for 4th as Trevor Bayne gets around his teammate, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I guess we shouldn't be surprised in that Ryan Truex move. He finished a career best 8th back here in the April race. I'm just impressed at how quickly he was able to get here.
Yeah, he disposed of a lot of cars, and of course a lot of those were, you know, some of the slower cars in the field, but he's still doing a nice job getting up to people like Justin Allgaier and making his way forward. So he gets a caution flag to get himself called up. We'll see exactly how much he has for tonight.
Carl Edwards right now has a 1-second lead over Brad Keselowski at our race here at Richmond, presented by Jack Daniels, as we've knocked down 45 of 250 laps. Welcome back to the Nationwide Series here at Richmond, the Virginia 529 College Savings 250. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. You're looking at our race leader, our race presented by Jack Daniels, knocking down 52 laps so far. Carl Edwards has led 43 of them. We've had 2 leaders. Brad Keselowski has led 8. He started on pole. Ricky Carmichael there in the 30 has just gone a lap down. To give you an idea, he is running in 25th position. So only 24 cars still on the lead lap. Multiple cars are out of this race. Green, Long, Andrews, Setzer, Mark Green, Scott Riggs, Chase Miller, Brian Keselowski. Behind Edwards, you see Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. Kyle going around the 30 now. Behind them, Trevor Bayne, Ricky Stenhouse, Kenny Wallace, and Jamie McMurray. And that brings us up to the 8th place. And why don't we go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance? How about it, Jamie Little?
Well, Stephen Wallace having a pretty good run in the 66. He started 7th tonight. That's his best start ever here at Richmond in 10 starts. says right now the car just needs front grip. He can't roll through the middle the way he wants to. He's hanging in there, though, as he's trying to get that one spot back. Vince?
Running ninth is the 2-car of Elliott Sadler. They were 27th in practice today, but crew chief Ernie Cope said, don't worry about it. The car's turning in good, and it's getting good drive off the corner, and that's what counts. So far, hasn't been too much of a problem. Car's pretty good, although Elliott says he'd like a little more right rear grip. That's what he's fighting with right now. The 38 of Jason Leffler running in 10th says the car's just a little bit too tight in the center. Hearing that all up and down pit lane today. Of course, a big run from Leffler would be right on time for Jason, the veteran here at the Nationwide Series. As it was noted earlier from the guys upstairs, was told earlier this month and confirmed this weekend that he has been told he should look for another ride next year. Leffler should land on his feet somewhere. Jamie?
Well, behind him is Kevin Harvick, and after the news has finally come out that he and his wife have sold KHI their race cars and the trucks as well, he was walking lighter. He was relieved and smiling until he got in the race car. Here's his radio.
3:45. 8 lap times. This is the biggest speed I've ever driven. I'm just trying to make it survive. Front tire has got to blow out at some point, as bad as the push is getting in the corner. For 4 hours of practice this morning as well.
Yeah, that's been going on for about 57 laps now out of 57, and he's saying the car is fundamentally messed up. He's telling his crew chief exactly what changes he wants to come up. Dave?
Jamie, if you ask Mike Bliss, he'd probably say his car was fundamentally pretty good right now. He's picked up 6 positions since the drop of the green flag. Just checked in with his crew. They say the car is just a little bit loose in, but other than that, pretty good for Mike. Vince?
Next in line is the 70 of David Strimme, running this week with ML Racing, a team that small one-car team based out of Warsaw, Indiana, but has the reputation of being able to do a lot with a little. And how about that? Strimme's letting it slide out wide, but they've got something with this combination. Strimme really likes running with this group. David Strimme, an accomplished driver, better than he gets from an opportunity standpoint a lot of times, but having a good go at it here in the early going, Dave.
Brian Scott has slid back a couple of spots since his opening starting spot of 12th place. Crew chief Kevin Kidd told me there's nothing he sees wrong with the car right now. He's okay with his lap times. They're just trying to recover. Brian told me before the race he was excited because they put the winning setup from Denny Hamlin's car that won this April here at this track. He was hoping for a really good night. Dr. Jerry Punch.
And what a run by the 19-year-old. There comes the 20 car. Ryan Truex, all the way back from 42nd starting spot. The young man has only been here once before, and he is driving the wheels off that car literally. In fact, so much that crew chief Adam Stevens said, hey, Ryan, listen, I know you're accustomed to 100-lap races, but this one's 250. You got to take it easy. We got lots of laps and lots of time left to go. This young man coming in a hurry.
Great story for Ryan Truex as he has moved into the top 15 after having to go to the back of the field. There you saw Sorensen and Allgaier. They're still running 17th and 18th. Everybody is chasing Carl Edwards here at our race at Richmond, presented by Jack Daniels.
Back at Richmond, we've just seen our first caution of the day. That's Blake Cook out on the track, trying to get the car back going. And Rusty, you were kind of calling this as it coming because of the brake rotors.
Yeah,
you can see it's glowing.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of cars out there with the really glowing brake rotors. I'm concerned we were going to start seeing some pop tires here pretty soon, Brad. It was looking rough.
Yeah, tires are heating up pretty bad. You can see Blake got out in the grass there and knocked that splitter down, and let's see what happened. He comes off the corner. Eric Almirola gets in a little four-wheel drift there and gets into his left rear quarter panel and sends him down into the grass here. So just a mistake. Eric was racing hard. Looks like I say, he got a little four-wheel slide and couldn't stop himself.
Cook was in 29th when it happened. This is from onboard the 88s of Almirola.
Yeah, Eric's just got a lot of biting up off of turn 4. You're on the throttle real hard, letting that car run up, and he just flat let it run up too far. They got into the side 81 car and into the inside wall, and that cost money right there.
Bust everything. Tie rod ends, ball joints, everything's busted. So yeah, that's going to be a tough fix right there, Rusty.
This is a break for drivers who get to come down pit road right now. As we were saying, it goes back to the brake rotors. They were glowing. They need new tires.
Yeah, it's a good time for these guys to come in and make some pit stops and make some adjustments and get going. Here we go.
Here they come. Carl Edwards is first. Dave?
Kyle Busch's car, he gives up a 4th position. They'll make a track bar adjustment for a car that needs lateral grip across the rear and is a tick tight in the middle of the corner. Vince?
The 60 of Carl Edwards, bottom left of your screen, says it's pretty good everywhere, but just a tick tight in the center, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment in 4 tires. Jamie?
Trevor Bayne, upper right-hand side, gained 1 position, doing a great job. Says he's loose off. 4 tires, track bar down 1 round. Clean the grill and pull some tape, Doc.
Right lower corner, Brad Kay saying the 60 car finishes the middle of the corner better and drives away from him. He's driving away from him right now. He barely beats him off pit road. Air pressure change only for the 22.
Race off pit road. You can see it's Carl Edwards getting the advantage over Brad Keselowski. Everybody taking 4 tires. Stephen Wallace, though, gained 2 spots. Fans get all the scoop on what goes on in the pits during a 14.5-second pit stop. That's the Craftsman virtual pit stop. Here we go. Race off pit road.
Yeah,
Carl Edwards.
Yeah, Keselowski.
60 crew obviously a little bit excited about this one.
Did a great job getting him off pit road. Excellent pit stop for that 60 crew. Keeps him out front.
Of course, as we were saying, fans, you can get all the scoop on what goes on in these pit stops during a 14.5-second stop with the Craftsman virtual pit stop. Check it out by going to ESPN.com and search virtual pit stop. Jeremy Clements is the leader right now by virtue of not stopping. Carl Edwards will line up second.
If you
2 coaching legends lead their programs on ABC tomorrow afternoon. Nick Saban's number 3 ranked Crimson Tide head to Happy Valley for a tough road test against Joe Paterno's number 23 Nittany Lions. College football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. It's on ABC Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. This could be a bit of an extended caution because while all the other stuff was going on, the 40 of Josh Wise, one of our 4 contenders in the Dash for Cash, had something go wrong in the engine compartment. Andy, you thought it might be an oil line, something like that, but this was the net result.
See that, or blown engine, it just emptied the oil tank completely down the back straightaway, and then when he pulled down pit road, left a big puddle in his pit stall. Either way, it looks like they're done.
So Josh's chances for the $100,000 is gone, and that's our over-the-wall guy, Rick Yeomans. He didn't know he was going to be in for a track meet tonight, but he is. Yeah, and that's Rick breathing heavy, and you'd be breathing heavy too if you were pushing 3,400 pounds of race car. Stay with us. We'll come back. We'll reset it for you and go back to Green Flag Racing. Green Flag Racing. We liked those last 2 cars before the one hit the wall and the other had engine problems here at our NASCAR Nationwide race at Richmond International Raceway, presented by Jack Daniels. We've knocked down 76 laps. Danica Patrick is in the position to get a wave around, but there was some confusion as let's take you back and show you exactly what happened. Notice the pace car. And there goes Danica. Now listening on the radio.
I don't know what I was supposed to do. Nobody said anything.
Yeah, you can't ever pass the pace car unless you're the lucky dog or a wave around. A wave around, we're not the wave around.
I don't even know where he was. I didn't even see him. I just slowly followed the cars in front of me.
That's exactly what you did. You followed them. We wasn't supposed to. They took off. We got to pay attention.
Well, she is getting the wave around, and she's taking it now. It wasn't quite time to do that, and they were actually putting the lucky dog around the pace car. She was following him.
And Robert Richardson is also taking the wave around. Eric McClure was the lucky dog. So Danica did not make the stop, and she's shown in 24th position. And we'll get her back on the lead lap. Let's reset it for you as we've got Carl Edwards. He selected the inside. As there you see, or actually I should say the leader right now shown as Jeremy Clements.
He made a
he did make a pit stop. Yeah, let's correct that. He did come in. So it is Edwards, Keselowski, Bayne, Kyle Busch, Stephen Wallace, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And we're back to Green Flag Racing.
Well, Brad Keselowski did not get going on that start.
Boy, look at Kyle on the high side. Whoa, Keselowski has problems and has slid up to the wall, our pole sitter.
He hit it too.
And he is dropping fast. trouble.
Crash. Big
And
crash
a big
for
crash, the 38 of Jason Leffler and the 33 of Kevin Harvick. So our winner here a year ago in this event has contact. Second caution is out. And for those cars that took the wave around, big break.
I don't see any fluid coming out of it. Looking there.
That was a battle for 9th position. Doesn't look like there's much damage. Whoa, and Leffler's not happy with Harvick.
Yeah, Leffler's got a ton of damage there. They're going to have to go behind the wall.
Okay, so we've got 2 separate incidents. Let's take you back first and show you what happened to our pole sitter. There's Brad Keselowski.
That thing just did not offer to turn.
And now the second incident. This is the battle for 9th.
Yeah, Harvick just gets right in the back of Leffler and turns him around.
And then let's go on board with Kevin.
Inside. Still inside. Top of 3. Still 3 tight. Still 3. Got one in the wall up high. 2 wide inside. Still inside. No caution. Inside corner.
I think Harvick might not have liked being put 3 wide on the outside in turn 1.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt what he didn't appreciate that. I don't think he planned on becoming part of this problem, but I think he was sending a message there for sure.
Well, and it's bad news for Jason Leffler because remember at the beginning of the broadcast, we talked
Take
about
it to the garage here, guys. I'll work on it. So get that Leffler tire on. We'll go to the garage here.
he has been told to go ahead and seek another ride for next year. And so it looks like tonight is not going to be his night.
Yeah, and I don't really know that Jason Leffler did anything wrong on that restart. There was a hole there, you know, car on the bottom, one up the top. There was plenty of room for him to go in there, but like Harvick did take exception to it.
Well, the 33 is coming down pit road, as is the 7 of Danica Patrick, the 14 of Eric McClure. How about it, Jamie?
Well, Kevin Harvick just came on the radio and said, I don't know what the heck happened there. I was going 10 miles per hour faster than him. I don't know if he checked up or what, but the crew has been looking at the car and they say they don't see any damage, but just to be safer than sorry, they brought it down to put new tires on it.
Doc, what do you have at your end of pit road?
Brad Kay came in right side tires. They pulled the right front fender away, taking a look at the car, still talking to the crew chief, Todd Gordon. Brad said he went into turn 1 and the car just absolutely would not turn. He turned in, the car went up across the racetrack and he nailed the wall. He said, guys, I'm sorry. They pulled the fender out and they're checking it for damage. Apparently the toe end is fine. Brad said the steering wheel is straight. They put right side tires on it and apparently he's got pretty good clearance. So hopefully minimal to no damage.
All right, thanks for the update, Doc. We can tell you Timmy Hill gets the lucky dog in the number 15, so he'll get back on the lead lap. That'll give us a total of 24 cars on the lead lap. Let's go back and take another look at the 33-38 deal.
Well, according to Harvick on the radio, he didn't mean to do that. But
Yeah, and Leffler, you know, could have been right in front of Leffler that he had to slow up quite a bit. So, you know, Harvick not anticipating that, got into the back of him. So,
well, let's check in with the man who we wanted to talk to before all this recent round of demolition derby took place. Josh Wise is out of the race. How about it, Jamie?
That's right. He was one of the Nationwide Dash for Cash drivers, racing the entire time tonight. First caution comes out, now all of a sudden it's chaos back here. Josh, what happened to you guys?
Yeah, I think they just found out oil pump broke, so it's unfortunate. The car, we were actually going to be pretty good there, and we were picking a few guys off, and just got to thank Cajun Industries, Ken Jacobs, everyone there, and everyone at Key Motorsports for putting this together for me to come try to win this deal, and it was a good effort, but it's a shame it ends this way.
Always a good attitude. Josh Wise will be back in the 40 next weekend, and Jason Leffler's made his way back here, and we'll get word with him in just a moment, Marty.
And you know, DJ, you made an interesting observation as we take a look at the Dash for Cash positions. And go ahead, tell us.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski could have possibly gotten his right side tires. He didn't get started good, spun the tires, and then it wouldn't turn. So he might have got in some of that oil and got them on the right sides. That could have been his problem.
There you see where they are in the field. We're going back to green flag racing. Kyle Busch had the low line. He took it there. Edwards, Bain, Stenhouse, Stephen Wallace. Well, I'll tell you what, as you watch the 18 car during practice, they were not happy. About 14th on the speed chart in the first practice. But you give that team just a little bit of time, and look what happens.
It looks like they've made a good adjustment. They got some speed out of the car here initially. We'll see how this goes on. One I'm impressed with right there, Trevor Bayne in this 16 car running third. He was one of the faster cars on the racetrack at the end of that first run.
Got a battle for the lead now as Carl Edwards has got down low and is underneath the 18 of Kyle Busch. And it looks like Carl, once those tires came back to life, he's going back to the front.
Looks like Carl maybe had just a little less air in his tires there. Take a lap or two more for him to get going than it did Kyle.
Our fourth lead change between 4 different drivers.
Got 20 cars up to 8 now. Ryan Truex is doing a great job.
While all this action goes on, between the 31 and the 11 as they are battling for the 9th position. Jamie, you've caught up with Jason Leffler?
Yes, he is out of the car while his team goes to work trying to fix this car and get you back out. Kevin Harvick came on the radio and said, I don't know what he was doing, if he was checking up. I was going 10 miles per hour faster. What was it from your side?
He just ran in the back of me, so dumped me. Not real happy. Great clip. Chevy was pretty good. Guys doing a good job. We had a fairly decent night going, and now it's ruined. So it's BS, but he'll come around.
Think you'll go back out? Go back out?
Yeah, we'll get it fixed.
All right, he's going back out with a smile on his face, Marty.
And I have a feeling there might be a mission in mind. We've seen Jason in action before when he feels like he's been wronged.
Yeah, and he was right. He ran 10th pretty much that whole first run that we had before that caution. So he was having a pretty solid night running inside the top 10.
These two have been side by side for a number of laps now. And right behind him, Mike Bliss with a good run going. Eric Almirola, and there is Reed Sorensen, our points leader. Or I should say, the man trying to get back to the points lead. He's 49 right now as they run. He is the leader for the Dash for Cash because he's already won twice there, picking up 200 grand.
Well, I'm sure Reed's not very happy that they're not running better than this. I think talking to him there before the race, they expected a lot more from this race car tonight.
Well, Brian Scott and Justin Allgaier, and I think there might be a few of those cars behind him. What do you think, guys, that are actually faster, but they can't get around either one of them?
Yeah, and that's Richmond Racing. That's the position you get yourself in. You just have to try to be patient in this situation. A lot of times you try to make too many things happen, then you start tearing stuff up.
Well, let's get an update on Justin Allgaier. How about it, Dave Burns?
Well, both he and the 11, it's no surprise they're running side by side. Their cars were both difficult to turn in the middle of the corner. They changed 4 tires. They both made a wedge adjustment, so there they go, one by one.
And there you see Allgaier's cycle. That battle has cooled, at least for the moment, as we have knocked down now 93 laps officially of the 250 scheduled for tonight. And the man that's up front again is Carl Edwards by 0.3 of a second over Kyle Busch. Trevor Bayne with a Ford. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., his teammate, in another Ford. Kenny Wallace still in the top 5. Welcome back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Richmond, Virginia, the 529 College Savings 250. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Race leader right now is Carl Edwards by 0.4 of a second over the 18 of Kyle Busch. Trevor Bayne is third. Ricky Stenhouse fourth. Kenny Wallace with a great run in fifth, and nephew Steven in sixth. Let's get an update on that race leader. How about it, Vince?
Well, they've been pretty happy with the 60 for Carl Edwards. Still a little snug in the center. That's the air pressure adjustment they made on that first stop to try to help it out. But remember, they were really good here in April. Sat on the pole, led 43 laps. But Mike Beam said he was way too aggressive on the setup on that day. The car faded, and then eventually they ran him out of fuel. He said today, he said, our setup is better, our car is better, and I'm not going to run him out of fuel. I guarantee you that. So far, so good for Carl Edwards, the leader, Dave.
Vince, Kyle Busch trying to catch him, and the booth has commented tonight on how it didn't look like the greatest car in practice. Jason Ratcliffe actually told me, he said, according to the stopwatch, we were not where we needed to be, but based on the feedback I was getting from Kyle, I felt like we could be a race-winning car tonight. It'd be Kyle's 4th victory here. Right now, Kyle's saying, I think I have a little bit too much rear steer in the car on exit, but they made small changes so far, trying to catch that 60.
So those two continue as first and second place. And as we drop back farther in the field, there is Brad Keselowski, our pole winner, and he was one of our 4 race leaders, leading a total of 8 laps, and now going underneath the 81 of Blake Cook as he has made repairs to his damaged car that hit the inside of the front straightaway wall. And there, from on board, Danica Patrick.
Danica's got her car going a lot better this run. She got that wave around, came in, got tires, running down Brad Keselowski. Brad's car might be a little bit hurt from that wall contact.
But the fact remains, she's better off than she was in that first. And I think that's just experience, probably a little adjustment on the car. Doing a pretty nice job here. Still on the lead lap right now.
In fact, there are a total of 24 cars on the lead lap. A total of 11 cars are now listed out of this race. Talking to Tony Eury Jr., he set the goal for this team as a top 15 tonight. Right now, she's on the lead lap, 22nd place. So keep your eyes posted for that one. Let's move back up a little bit farther forward in the field between the 16, Trevor Bayne, and his teammate Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, go up here to drivers that grew up racing on short tracks and things and sliding cars around, and in stock cars, and a lot different. So back to Danica. This is still a learning process, knowing how much you can slide a car around in a situation like this on a shorter track where you're not carrying quite the speed, even though there is some pretty high speeds here. These two guys doing a fantastic job up inside the top 5 right now.
Well, and it's been a good year for Roush Fenway Racing. They've had all 3 cars finish in the top 5 twice already in this year. This could potentially be a 3rd.
Now, only Kyle Busch has got them separated right now.
Well, there is your top 5 as we've knocked down 109 of the 250 laps here at Richmond. Our race presented by Jack Daniels.
But she's back on track now.
Yeah, she's okay right now. She's 22nd. She's still on the lead lap. Made a little mistake right there. Kind of a rookie mistake right there, Brad, but she'll be okay.
Yeah, we go to lap 79. We saw Brad Keselowski, our pole sitter. He either got into some oil or the right front tire got a little hot and he got up into the wall. Then we had Kevin Harvick getting to Jason Leffler all on the same incident on the same lap. And you see Leffler there's not too happy with Kevin Harvick.
Of course, coming into this race, it's all about the points battle. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is the leader, and right now he's running up front in 4th. Elliott Sadler is chasing him both on the track and in points.
Yeah, both of these guys are running good right now. Ricky Stenhouse, like you said, he's still leading the points. 16 points ahead of Elliott Sadler. Elliott's a little bit off tonight. His lap times aren't really as good as they should be, but they need to stay working on that number 2 car. But Trevor Bayne right there in the 16, he's been a pleasant surprise up there running the 2nd position right now, challenging teammate Carl Edwards.
Yeah, all the Roush cars are up front. Carl Edwards is 1st, Bayne 2nd, Stenhouse is 4th. They're all in the top 5 running really, really well right now.
Also can't forget about Kyle Busch in 3rd. But Doc, what do you have more on that 6 car?
Interesting, Nicole. You know, Ricky Stenhouse has run so well on 3/4-mile racetracks. He's won at both times they've gone to Iowa, a track that was basically patterned after this racetrack. But they didn't bring the Iowa car here. Why? Because in Iowa, it was 5 weeks ago. They have made so many aero gains on their chassis. This car here had the latest and greatest updates. That's why they wanted to use this car here. They didn't have time to fix the Iowa car. That's how quickly the landscape is changing here in the Nationwide Series. Okay.
And how about that 5th place car, Doc? Kenny Wallace, the guy who's run more Nationwide races here than any other driver. He had this to say on the radio moments ago.
Really good. We're just getting beat because I'm really good. It's good, Scotty. It's really good.
making that call out to Scotty Zipadelli. I did check with Scott to see what he meant by we're just getting beat because I'm really good. Scott just smiled and laughed. He said, I think that's just because Kenny's all wound up because he knows he's got a really good race car tonight. Nicole?
One of the other guys we were talking about coming into this race was Reed Sorensen. He lost 20 points last week in an incident with his teammate on the track in Atlanta. And right now, he hasn't really made much way up into the field. He's running 15.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, I think it's affected he and his teammate Justin Allgaier. Neither one of these guys have run extremely strong tonight. And Reed seems to be going backwards now. They've got a lot of adjustability in the car. Heard crew chief Trent Owens talking earlier about, hopefully getting it to the end, getting a good last run and having a good finish. But right now, they're struggling to get up. They're losing points.
He's losing points. He's back 51 now.
Yeah.
When coming into the day, he was behind 40th. The one thing you'll notice on the grills tonight that's different from what we saw at the big track at Atlanta a week ago, there's a lot of tape on these grills. Just one of the differences we're seeing.
Yeah, generally you would see it the other way around, Nicole, that there'd be more tape on the bigger tracks because they're running more mile per hour to cool them. But here, it's pretty cool temperatures out tonight, so they got a lot of tape on the grill. They want that downforce. They want that front end to stick real good so they can drive up off the corner. Although the brakes are open pretty decent, not a lot, because brakes are a very big thing here. Like Tim Brewer told us early, if they get too hot, Brad, they'll blow the tires out.
Yeah, they'll blow the bead in that right front tire if they're not careful.
125 laps complete, which means we are halfway here at Richmond. Carl Edwards is your leader. He's being run down by his teammate in the 16, Trevor Bayne. We'll have more from Richmond in just a second.
Can you switch? Sunday morning's ESPN2 lineup has just gotten a lot better. Check it out, because at 10 a.m. we got Outside the Lines, and 10:30 it's ESPN The Sports Reporters, followed at 11 a.m. with Sports Center, and then 11:30 with Fantasy Football Now. Sunday mornings gotten better on ESPN2. Back here at Richmond International Raceway, we've completed 132 laps of the 250 scheduled. You're looking at race leader Carl Edwards. He puts Danica Patrick down a lap again. She is the first car a lap down in 21st position. Right behind Danica is the 16 of Trevor Bayne. Let's get an update from Jamie Little.
Well, first and foremost, he is bad fast, and they have made the right adjustments on this car. It has been good. It's been minimal adjustments, and that's what Trevor's been saying. Now, here's basically the story on him. He kicked off the year winning the Daytona 500. Then he suffered from an illness, had to get out of his Nationwide car, and ever since then, as the team told me, he's lost his confidence. His teammates are winning, and he is not. All of a sudden, he has a new crew chief. They ran great last week, worked their way through the field, led some laps, and look at him. They knew he was going to be good tonight. He was good all day in practice and qualifying, and he's not giving up. Marty?
Chad Norris, that new crew chief, and boy, he is right behind him. And then there is Brad Keselowski, as Keselowski now goes a lap down after smacking the wall on that restart. And it obviously has left him with a car that's ill handling. Let's get more on that 22. How about it, Doc?
Yeah, Marty hit the wall after being our pole sitter and early leader, hit the wall in lap 86. And then they thought the car had minimal to no damage, but when he restarted 21st and couldn't move it beyond 20th, this was the communication the moment ago on the radio.
Probably lost some camber and got some toe out with that hit. We'll get it fixed. Just give me what you can. Therefore, quite honestly, I did not hit that hard. Either that or I've taken so many hits lately I can't tell.
Yeah, he's referring to that 100-mile-an-hour head-on impact into a concrete wall back in early August at Road Atlanta, which injured him significantly. And they were saying that the damage to the driver is minimal, but they're concerned about the toe end and the camber, and they need a caution flag to fix it. How do you fix it? Well, let's go to the Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Doc. When you change the direction of the front wheels, you have to come in, and the tie rod end is located right here at the front of the tire. Now, the camber, you're going to actually have to adjust it up here by unbolting this and changing the shim right here. But the tie rod, it's basically a turnbuckle. It's left and right threaded, so by manipulating it, you make it longer or shorter, but to change the direction of that tire is pointed, that controls the handling characteristics of the car. But Brad, he's a pretty smart guy. He knows what he wants with the toe end. Marty?
Tim, we got a crash on the track here as Danica Patrick got into Brad Keselowski. It looked like maybe Brad was going to be able to save it. You could see Danica locking up the brakes and just carrying too much speed, got into Keselowski and brings out our third caution. Keselowski was running 20th. Let's go back and take another look.
Yeah, Brad is struggling right now with that car after that contact. Danica, she really wants this spot. She drives in just a little too hard, locks that left front up.
Yeah, I think she thought that she was going to get the spot, and so she drove it on in, and maybe Brad didn't give her quite as much room as she thought she needed, and she locked it up at that point in time. Let's see here. Yeah, Brad was just holding it out, and I think she thought that spot was there.
Come on, keep coming there. Keep coming there.
Realized that it was going to be tighter, and she tried to stay off of him by hitting the brakes a little too hard and slid up into Brad. I was really getting concerned with all of this about Brad, seeing a lot of brake dust on those front wheels that maybe he was going to blow a tire out.
All right, I got a flat spot. I slid up. That was my fault.
Yeah, 10-4.
I got in there and just got on the brakes, and it just slid up.
So Danica takes full responsibility for that one, and there will be no lucky dog because Brad Keselowski was in the lucky dog position. Dave Burns.
Kyle Busch fell from first to third on that run, and really just minor tweaks to try to get the car back. A little bit of track bar, a little bit of wedge. I believe the car is just a little bit too tight for him to make up ground. Vince?
Carl Edwards, bottom left of your screen. They discussed the chassis adjustment but decided against it. Just an air pressure adjustment, a tick snug in the center. Jamie?
The 16 of Trevor Baynes says he's a lot better, and the grip is better, but he's gotten tighter through the center 4 tires. Track bar down a half round, wedge, and Sunoco, Doc.
1 round down right rear Stenhouse, 4 tires. Sunoco gas topping it off. Great pit stop by the UPS Cup crew, pitting the 6th car here for the first time, and they'll be here the rest of the year, guys.
And the race off pit road, the big winner was Kevin Harvick. So ever since he had the incident with the 38 of Leffler, Harvick's actually come forward rather than going back. We'll reset it for you when we come back to Richmond. Under our third caution here at the NASCAR Nationwide Series event at Richmond International Raceway. And a lot of action on pit road, especially involving Trevor Baynes' crew in the number 16. Came in second.
Yeah, but unfortunately not going to go. You see, he gets a little close to Carl Edwards guys here who pretty acrobatic.
Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Bad pit stop here. Watch the front tire changer. Right front. He's squatting down. Cannot pull the tire off. This is Cesar Villanueva, and he has been solid all year until now. Had the issue. Dropped 7 positions, or back to green, guys.
Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards up front, then Elliott Sadler, Ricky Stenhouse, Kenny Wallace, the top 5. Trevor Baynes restarts in 9th and has dropped back to 10th. Oh, trouble. Big crash up in the corner. The 11 of Brian Scott, 62 of Michael Annett. And it's the 11 of Scott that got the worst of it.
88 just never stopped for the corner.
The 88 would be Eric Almirola, and that is the 11 radio.
Well, he pounded that one.
Absolutely killed.
Our 4th caution. Michael Annett able to continue. Let's go back and see if we can sort this out.
Yeah, these restarts are really tight. Always have been on these short tracks. See the 11 car there coming into the corner now. He does get a tap for sure.
Wow. Big hit. All right. On board with Eric Almirola.
Good braking. Stay low, just stay low, stay low. Caution is out. Caution.
It's almost like it's a little bit of a stack up right there of those cars getting in the corner.
Yeah, that's Michael Annett just seemed, I'm sorry,
Almirola.
Yeah, it looked like he just didn't anticipate things slowing down when you're under the, just on a restart here. You have to anticipate that things are going to be a little slower getting in there than actual speed most of the time. So, well, see Brian Scott not very happy with him.
Yeah, he was running 9th at the time, and boy, he is furious with Eric Almirola. And here's maybe the reason why. You look at his last group of races. In fact, from 8th place back in Charlotte, he has not cracked the top 10 except for Bristol 2 races ago. Stay with us. We're coming back. Yes, we've had road rage here at Richmond before. Was that on Rusty? RRW?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Such a nice guy.
100 laps to go here, and we're under our 4th caution. And we've got a few hot tempers out there, including Brian Scott in the 11.
Yeah, this is just close racing on a restart, and I think Eric Almirola just didn't anticipate well enough, what was happening in front of him.
Here's the view from behind.
Still up there, full. Still up there. 1.5 back behind. Stay down here. Stay down. Y'all good. Keep coming low.
And here's
Yellow's
what
out.
Eric Almirola had to say on the radio after that.
I didn't mean to do that. I tried to race in there with a 31, and he stopped way sooner than I thought he should have.
So as so many times happens, misjudgment causes some big results. Well, we saw the temper of Brian Scott, and let's bring in Rusty Wallace. That was you, if I remember correctly there, guy.
Well, that was just me and Gordon having a little problem back in the old days. That was a lot of fun. But I will tell you, these restarts, guys, are really create a lot of tempers because, like Dale and Andy said, you really get boggled up getting down into turn 1 and turn 3 on restarts. You're not single file, you're side by side. You kind of lose a little bit of depth perception, and you sail those babies off down in there. If the guy doesn't continue on as fast as you're going, sometimes you have a little problem, and we're going to see this a lot more, probably.
Well, and let's reset some things for you. You're on board with Elliott Sadler, and look who's right alongside him, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So there you've got first and second in the points. They're going to be in row number 2. And, oh, by the way, they're fighting for $100,000 in the dash for cash. Up front, it's Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards. Where's Reed Sorensen, you say? He's going to restart 12th. We're back to green flag. Somebody way slow right at start-finish.
Like Jamie McMurray.
Everybody cleared safely, and you're right, it is the one of Jamie McMurray. Doc, what are you hearing?
Well, twice in the last 25 laps, McMurray has had to come down pit road when the coil wire is vibrated loose. They had to come in the last time and try to tire up it back in position. They think it's possibly an ignition. Maybe the thing is vibrating. It is not firing completely from an ignition standpoint.
Well, he stays out on the racetrack, but he is definitely not up to speed, and I'm surprised he did not pull down onto pit road because the field is approaching quickly.
Well, it took off like it was going to run for a minute and then stopped again.
Well, there goes your leader, Kyle Busch, as he's ahead of Carl Edwards, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Elliott Sadler, and Kenny Wallace has stayed in that top 5.
Yeah, you think Kenny, you talk about those other 2 guys battling for $100,000. You think Kenny Wallace and his team couldn't use a $100,000 payoff?
And remember, the top 4 finishers, nationwide regulars in this race, along with the guy who wins it, so the other 3, they move on to the Charlotte event. So he would be eligible for that right now. Battle for the lead as Carl Edwards has gotten right back up. It's amazing. It takes him a couple of laps to get those tires up.
That's exactly what we saw the last time. Seems like this time, though, Kyle held on just a little bit longer.
Well, and the other thing you've noticed twice now as the run has progressed, the 60, the 16, not as much brake rotor lighten up as we have seen in like the 18 and some of these other cars.
Yeah, that's what I've seen as they run a good long stretch. You'll see that 60 car, his rotors will be completely cool. You won't see any color. And I've seen a ton of color in that 18 car's rotor.
We'll let you know that one of Jamie McMurray has limped into pit road, so he is out of harm's way. And look at Carl as he's got a nose in front of the 18, but here comes Kyle right back.
Kyle really hanging tough on that high side right now. We haven't really seen a car hang this long on the top side. See Kenny Wallace trying to take that 4th spot from Elliott Sadler, too, on the right side of your screen.
Those two on the left, between them, have won a total of 5. Oh, got a car on the wall. It's Eric McClure. And a tough break for Eric as he has hit the wall in turn number 4. Caution is out. 5th time today.
Just run slow. Don't let that thing come apart and make any more damage than you got. Go down way by the yellow line there.
All right. While we got a chance, let's check in with Dave Burns.
Yeah, standing by with Brian Scott now, who walked out, appears to be okay, but not attitude-wise. I know you're pretty angry at the 88.
Yeah, you know, he's run into the back of me a couple times on restarts. Bristol comes to mind, and I don't know what it is, but when you turn somebody before you get into the corner, you hit the outside wall pretty hard. It was a tough hit. Killed our car. We weren't having the night that we wanted with our number 11 Shore Lodge Toyota. Guys were doing an awesome job on pit road, keeping us in the game. Kevin was making good adjustments. We were starting to hit on it, but now we're not going to see how our night ends.
Brian Scott out of this race. His crew told me last week, boy, this kid can really push the button, but if we could just get some luck. None tonight, Marty.
Well, he has 1 top 10 in his last 13 races. That gives you an idea of just how frustrating a season has been for Brian Scott. Let's go back, show you what happened to Eric McClure that brought out our 5th caution.
Looks like he blew a tire. See sparks flying before he gets to the corner.
There's the aftermath.
It's almost like that tire was going down, coming down the back straightaway.
He was running 22nd. Mike Wallace will get the lucky dog. He was the first car a lap down. That will give us a total of 19 cars back on the lead lap, and they're still having to go out and pick up the 14.
He obviously ran over something because they hadn't run long enough for that brake heat to really melt a bead or anything like that. So I'm sure it was just a case where he ran over something and cut that tire down.
Well, it's been 20 laps since our last pit stop. Pit lane is closed. You can see that with the flag waving over to the right there. Does anybody come?
Well, track position being pretty important. They're inside of a pit window, though. They could make it from here. Be a good opportunity to make that stop, and I think you'll see them do it. At least you'll see some of them do it.
You have to wonder if somebody like Trevor Bain, who's back in 11th now, actually lost a couple of spots. He was really having a tough time. If indeed they do decide to come down pit road, he might look at 2 tires to get some track position back.
Yeah, there'd be a chance for him to pull a little bit of strategy. You know, only run just a few laps, not that many green flag laps. You don't really want to pivot when you look at that laps to go, and that number is lower than your pit window. You got to think about it. You got to really consider coming down, at least getting fuel.
I'm looking down through.
It's green now. We'll see anybody who comes.
Yeah,
pit road is open. We'll see everybody passing on it.
First taker. It looks like it's going to be the 32 of Reed Sorensen, so he peels off from 10th position, and we'll find out just what happens when we come back to Richmond.
Hey, folks.
And while we've got a moment, let's talk about what's coming up. NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Our Sprint Cup Series race from here at Richmond, tomorrow, 7 Eastern on ABC. Then NASCAR Now, tomorrow night, 11 Eastern on ESPN2. And then our next stop on the Nationwide Series, Chicago, next Saturday, 3 Eastern on ESPN2. The 30 of Ricky Carmichael, too fast entering, so he'll have to pay the price on that. And you heard Brian Scott taking the 88 of Eric Almirola to task, and between that and what we saw with a little sheet metal talking between the 88 and the 16. Let's go back and show you what we mean. From the view of 32 of Reed Sorensen.
Now they've been fighting over some space, and
outside 16. You're ready to roll in the 88 here.
I think that was during the racing, but then after the caution came out here, I think Trevor Bain was a little unhappy with something that Eric Almirola had done. Took a little
over here.
Swipe at him here.
So we'll see if that continues to foment. Still cleaning the track. We'll let you know that Jason Leffler is back out. 32nd position. He's 70 laps down. And remember, right now he's not real happy with Kevin Harvick, who's running in 6th. Get ready to go back to green flag racing. Since the last round of major pit stops by our leaders at lap 141, we've had 22 laps of caution. Do you think we can go the distance now, Andy?
Well, I think all those leaders can go now with all those laps of caution. That's why you didn't see them come down pit road. Only Reed Sorensen did, because they feel like they can all make it from here.
Kyle Busch took the inside. He's got Carl Edwards. Then Kenny Wallace is up to third. Stenhouse right alongside in fourth. Here we go.
Oh, Elliott Sadler has some ideas of making it 3 wide down the front straightaway. Now Stephen Wallace trying to take the spot from him.
And he's got Kevin Harvick, his boss, right behind him in the 33. Sadler sees that 6 car just 2 ahead of him, and he knows what it means in more ways than one. The points championship and $100,000 to the top finisher between he, Stenhouse, and Reed Sorensen. And Stephen Wallace says, I don't care about that. I'm going to take the position.
Stenhouse still looks like he's the best of those cars that have that opportunity at that 100,000 right now, but we have a lot of racing to go.
Look at Reed Sorensen in the 20. Started dead last in the field. Or Ryan Truex, I'm sorry, in the 20. And now side by side with the 88. As up front, you saw Carl Edwards taking a peek under Kyle Busch. So Kyle still holding on. But here comes Carl again. His tires take a few laps, as we've seen, after every restart. Side by side, here comes Carl. Can he close it this time? Right side of your screen, it's Truex in the 20. Side by side with Trevor Bayne.
Trevor Bayne made a spectacular 3-wide pass, get into one, and now Truex trying to come back.
Officially, Carl Edwards led at the stripe, so that's our 9th lead change. There's Eric Almirola now getting into that mix for the battle for 8th on the right side.
Well, you can see just where Carl Edwards is so good, able to get back in the gas hard next to the corner. Really was able to make that pass look pretty easy on Kyle Busch right there.
The view from high above. Trevor takes it deeper. Whoa, and there's a little contact between the two. Bayne makes a nice recovery, but it's going to cost him 2 spots.
Yeah, it looked like Trevor didn't give Truex enough room getting into one. Had to use up a little more track than what he was left.
Almirola gets around him as well, so bumping back 2 positions. Now he's going to take another peek underneath Almirola. And he quickly clears him. Then there's Reed Sorensen in the 32. Remember, he too, the 3rd man left in this battle for the dash for cash.
I'm sure Trevor's just really frustrated because he had one of the best cars, if not the best car, and it was really racing Carl Edwards for the win. Had a bad pit stop and puts him back in the pack, and he's not nearly as good as he was.
Sorensen, who has not really cracked the top 5 tonight, has been sort of mired in that 10th, 11th, 12th position. Still been battling his way, trying to get there. Let's get an update on that 32. Vince, what are you hearing?
Well, Reed Sorensen has been looking for some more grip throughout the course of this race. Just hasn't had the drive off that he's wanted. But 2 stops ago, they made a wedge adjustment. He said it's getting a little bit better. So they went and made a little further adjustment in that wedge. The last time he came through when everybody else stayed out and Sorensen came for fuel and tires. So they're trying to get that car better so he can keep moving up, Marty.
All right, thanks, Vince. And Sorensen right now, as you saw, 6 seconds behind the race leaders. And the 2 guys he's chasing, Stenhouse in 3rd, Elliott Sadler in 7th. This is that battle for 8th position with Ryan Truex and Trevor Bayne in the 16 with Eric Almirola in the 88, and then Sorensen. Jamie?
Trevor Bayne, before we went green there, guys, he came on the radio complaining about Ryan Truex blocking him. So he's had this pent-up frustration. The team, Chad Norris, his crew chief, talking him down, telling him just to be calm, to be mature, and learn something here. It's been tough, but Trevor Bayne, as he goes to the inside,
Side by side through the corner, and it looks like he will be able to clear him. So he takes over that 8th spot.
Yeah, he's got a really, really good car. He just does have to be patient here. Hope that he gets another chance to pick off some of these other cars, but he has a much faster car, especially as the laps get on the tires. Trevor Bayne seems like that his car doesn't lose as much speed as some of these others.
While those bad guys continue that battle for the 8th position and on back through for the next 4 spots, here's the race leader, Carl Edwards. He's led a whole total of 128 of our 184 laps. We've got 66 to go. Our race presented by Jack Daniels.
Welcome back to Richmond and the NASCAR Nationwide Series race, the Virginia 529 College Savings 250. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all of your latest NASCAR information. We are 190 laps in. Let's go down to Jamie. Stephen Wallace is on pit road.
They cannot get any luck. They finally making their way up. They back in 7th where they started, and they had a flat right rear. Had to pit and take 4 tires. They got to charge their way back up through. Nicole.
Such a disappointing night for Stephen Wallace. He'd been running in the top 10 most of the night. In fact, it's been a good night for the last name Wallace. Kenny Wallace started 5th. He's been in the top 5 most of the night. Brad right now is running 4th.
Kenny's doing an outstanding job, and if you remember last time we were here in April, Kenny was running 4th on lap 246 when he pitted too soon and was penalized and ended up finishing 13th, I believe it was. But he is strong at this racetrack. We could see Kenny Wallace in victory lane here tonight.
For more on the 09, Dave?
Well, of course, he's got 9 nationwide victories, 7 of them on short tracks, 3 of them right here at Richmond. And he told me today that crew chief Scott Zipadelli will, quote, drive me into the ground, demanding that I take a line that the crew chief, Scott, wants to see. He told me that coming off the corner, like right there, he wanted Kenny to exit lower. The only way that he could do that was backing up his corner entry. And when he did that, they found out that the car was much better than both of them thought. So Scott and Kenny working very well, trying to get him to get another win here. Nicole?
Another guy that we're watching happens to be the guy that's tied for most wins in this series at this track. That's Kevin Harvick. He has 5 wins here. He's also in 5th.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good right now. He's recovered from his frustration earlier. He was really upset the way the car was handling. It's much better right now. I'm looking at his lap times. They're pretty good, and he's up to 5th right now, and he seems like he's calmed down a little bit now.
Picking him off one by one. Jamie?
Yes, well, we played that radio early on. That was one hot driver. He said that was the worst car, fundamentally wrong. Everything was wrong. It was going to be a long night. Well, Chris Carrier laughed and said, hey, it's like being married for a long time. No offense, but he's been working on the car and said everything is good. Car's coming around. This is the best he has been all night. Nicole?
Marty, it's always a good sign when the driver has a bit of humor in the car.
And Kevin has been known to fire off a few, as there is the man that drives for him in the 2 of Elliott Sadler. Sadler in 6th, 8 seconds behind the race leader. More importantly, 6 seconds behind the man he's chasing in the championship, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Man chasing for that $100,000.
Vince, let's get an update on that 2 car.
Well, and if his boss Kevin Harvick was unhappy early, Sadler is unhappy now because he just does not have a car that he feels like he can work with. He said it's worse this run, almost like the right front is flat. He said the set of tires just doesn't feel right. Sometimes you just get that set that doesn't work with what you got, and right now that's what Elliott Sadler's dealing with, Marty.
All right, thanks, Vince. As these guys continue, let's update you on Stephen Wallace because he came back out 1 lap down after that pit stop for the flat tire. He's 21st, and ahead of him, also 1 lap down, Danica Patrick, Brad Keselowski in 19th. There is Stephen as he continues to try and fight his way back. So Carl Edwards is still your race leader. Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That's your top 3. A race presented by Jack Daniels.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Richmond, presented by Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey. Live freely, drink sensibly. And in part by Mother's Polish. There's no shine like Mother's.
Under the lights at Richmond International Raceway. Let's get you caught up in case you're just joining us. Our race leader is Carl Edwards. He has led a total of 150 laps. And Kyle Busch second on that list with 40. 9 lead changes now and 5 total cautions for a total of 39 laps. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr., our points leader in the championship, he is currently running third and in line to pick up the $100,000 bonus for the Dash for Cash. There you see Carl Edwards going around Ricky Carmichael. He is 27th, now 5 laps down. And the 38 is back out and got passed, or is getting very close to being passed by the 33, Kevin Harvick.
Kevin tried to pass him off turn 2, and looked like he may have brake checked him a little coming off the corner. I saw some smoke fly.
And it looks like there's some damage on Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, he got the worst end of that deal. He had chased him down, and
guy that was running as high as second. Take a look. Here's what happened. So let's get an update on the 16. An innocent victim here, Jamie.
Oh my gosh, Marty, right before that happened, his crew just warned him. The 38 is waiting for the 33 for a payback, and right then, boom, he hits the back of him, and Trevor said, this is awful. He's beat up, guys, but he may be coming down here. They're watching the temps right now on the 16.
And for Trevor, only 2 top 10 finishes in the last 11 races, including 3 DNFs, and this one, no fault of his own, as he is now side by side with Harvick. And Harvick has gotten past the 38. Whoa, and look out, there's trouble there. And now Harvick retaliates into the 16. Caution flag is out again. And I guess Trevor's meter was pegged.
Hold it up there. They're going to slide
that's
into
all
you.
frustration, every bit of that. It's just a shame to see that for Trevor. He had a great
Yeah,
partner.
I'm fine, but I'm just over-wrecking cars because we can't get out of the pit.
That's a reference to that pit stop that cost him 7 spots. He was second when he came in.
Harvick wrecked us.
He came back out in 9th. Let's go back and show you exactly what happened here. Our 6th caution of the night.
See, Trevor may have got into Harvick there, got Harvick in the wall. Harvick says, okay, take that.
Let's get another angle on this.
Yep, that's what I saw.
Not any doubt.
All right, let's listen in on the radio as we look at the perspective of the 33.
Now, he got into me, and I got loose, and then wound up hitting him.
From that, it doesn't sound like he's saying I deliberately.
That's what I'd have said too, maybe. I don't know. It's not what happened, but there's no doubt that he got loose and up against the wall, but he didn't have to come off the wall to hit 6. That's just frustration with what he was going through with the 38.
And I'm wondering,
I think that's the same thing with Trevor. I think Trevor was just frustrated with Harvick and get caught up in his situation.
Yeah, he
with
saw an
38.
opportunity to go, and he made that. And yeah, he got into Harvick just a little bit. So, yeah, it's hard short track racing, just like we talk about, and tempers are going to flare.
So what started out as an incident between the 38 and the 33, Leffler and Harvick, ends up doing damage to the 16 of Trevor Bayne, where he gets his nose stuffed. And then it just escalated from there. And it all started a lot earlier in this race. When Harvick and Leffler got together, here we go. Leffler felt like Harvick took him out.
Yeah, and Harvick felt like that the 38 had slowed down, whether it was something in front of him or not, that slowed him down. He just wasn't anticipating that happening.
So when Leffler put it all back together, he came back out 70 laps down. He's now 71 behind in 32nd spot, and we just documented what happened there when he brake checked Harvick. And yeah, look at Harvick looking back, wondering if Leffler's going to do anything.
Just keep an eye on him.
Pit road is still closed because Trevor Bayne's car is still in the entry area. On board with Jason.
Comes Harvick to pit road anyway to do some work on his race car.
Yeah, the pit road's closed, but the penalty is have to start at the rear. He just needs to get in and get his car worked on. Here he comes, Jamie.
Yeah, pit road is closed, and Kevin Harvick wants to get this damage fixed. Now, he says his car got loose because of the 16. And you see him going to work on the right side. They're going to take right side tires only to focus on the damage. You see him knocking the spoiler down in the back. They've got their hammers out. Plus, they're working on the splitter up front, and they are going to town. A lot of damage on that right side of the car. Raced his way all the way up into 5th, guys, and bad place to be, I guess, for the 16 and the 33.
All right, let's get you a different perspective on this last incident. How about from high above?
This is going into turn 1. You see Trevor Baynes saw an opportunity. He was on the outside here. Had a little bit of run, but Harvick's cleared right there. Trevor was trying to cut back under him. May have gotten into Harvick a little bit. Now, that's not loose. I'm sorry, folks. You believe Harvick or what we're watching there.
Here's the view from Leffler's
Need
car.
a piece of back. Watch this. Watch this. Come on through.
1-6.
And that's what's left of the 16 being hauled back to the garage area.
I think a lot of the frustration for Trevor, though, is losing all the spots on pit road.
Yeah, and all of it goes back. He would have never been in that position if they hadn't have had the bad pit stop. And once he got back there, it just like the frustration level was a little too high for him. And, you know, we saw him get in a couple of different scenarios where it was tough for him. Coming to pit road now.
Carl Edwards leads the way here on lap number 216. Dave?
To be a 4-time winner here, Kyle Busch thinks his car needs to be a little tighter at the beginning. They'll get the same wedge and track power adjustment they got last time, 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. Kenny Wallace gives up the 4th position. He'll get no changes to his car except 4 fresh tires and full of fuel. Vince.
Carl Edwards, upper right-hand side of your screen. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. 4 tires, no changes for the man who's dominated this race. Doc.
6 car Ricky Stenhouse needs bite off, needs drive off, right rear, half a round out. This could be a $100,000 pit stop. UPS Cup crew gets him down and away. 14.8 seconds, guys. Good stop.
The race off pit road. Kyle Busch with the best pit stop as he picks up 1. So does Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ryan Truex picks up 3. Carl Edwards, you saw the length on that pit stop. He drops 3. So does Kenny Wallace. And Justin Allgaier picks up 3 as well. Back here at Richmond International Raceway, 32 laps to go. We are under our 6th caution. And we can tell you, Mike Wallace gets the lucky dog. Several cars are getting the wave around right now. We'll get those numbers for you. The 28, the 39 of Martinez. Stephen Wallace on the 66. Blake Cook and Danica Patrick. They all take the wave around, get back on. For some of them, the lead lap. Mike Wallace, Steve Wallace, Danica Patrick. There you see the cars up front. Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ryan Truex is now listed in 3rd. Carl, what a comeback for this young man after starting dead last in the field. Carl Edwards, 4th. Eric Almirola, 5th. Elliott Sadler in 6th. And Kenny Wallace, after a rough pit stop, drops back to 7th. And where is the 38 of Jason Leffler? As we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Leffler back in the pack there, as is Kevin Harvick, because he had to move back and start the rear of the field. And boy, a great restart for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
That car will fly for about 3 or 4 laps.
The only difference this time is Carl Edwards isn't going to be the guy right up underneath him.
Might be good news for Kyle.
Yeah, that's the key. Kyle's car's been getting better and better on these longer runs. It's been really fast, as Andy said, for 3 or 4 laps here, but he's getting him a little bit of a lead built up now.
There is Carl as he's trying to get around Ryan Truex on the high side.
What a great job Ryan Truex has done tonight. Coming up through traffic from the very back of the field. Got himself up here in a great spot, 4th right now.
Elliott Sadler on the outside there of Almirola. And there's Kenny Wallace right behind him. And Reed Sorensen in that mix. First time I think Sorensen's cracked the top 10 tonight. He's up to 8th.
Yeah, and Almirola, he's just been able to manufacture a lot of good finishes, too. He's been in the middle of a lot of things happening tonight. There he is, up in the top 5 right now.
While all this action goes on, Jamie Little is caught up with Trevor Bayne.
Very frustrated Trevor Bayne, been top 4 all day in practice and qualifying, ran as high as second tonight. Trevor, what happened with you in the 33 and the 38?
Well, it's just pretty frustrating to begin with because we were second all night, had a very fast race car, had a contention to win, and we had a bad pit stop again. Same thing that took us out of it last week. We lost 8 spots on pit road, come out 12th or 11th or wherever, and we get wrecked again. So it's our own fault a little bit. But then with the 38 and 33, I just say we got caught up in somebody else's mess. The 38 and 33 were mad about whatever. Before that, I run down the 33 and the 2 from a straightaway back, get to the 33. He lets the 2 car go and then pulls down to block me. I'm sure it's because the 2's running for a championship, but it's just not good when you get blocked like that and then get caught up in their mess because they want to wreck each other, and then he intentionally wrecked us going into 3. So it's pretty frustrating. Harvick's always raced me really well, and I don't really know what happened tonight, but it's definitely frustrating for us, and I hate that our cars weren't up and we had a shot to win it tonight.
And Trevor Bayne's team did make 2 changes on their pit crew this weekend, guys, and they just struggled, dropped the spots, and you heard him say it. That's the reason why.
His 5th DNF of the year as this action continues out on track, and there goes the 09 of Kenny Wallace as he gets around Aric Almirola. So Kenny Wallace trying to fight his way back. He's up into the top 5. The battle for 12th. How about this ride that David Stremme has given this 70 car tonight, as he has got Michael Annett outside him there.
Michael Annett doing a good job here tonight, too. He almost was involved, had to stop to keep from hitting Brian Scott when he got turned. So doing a really good job, as is Stremme. Vince?
Well, you guys hit the nail on the head with David Stremme, and Stremme's doing that with a little damage on the left front, so it's really been arrow tight as you see him pull up side by side with Michael Annett. So despite the fact that the car has been tight throughout almost the entire night, he's still managed to get it done. So the 70 and ML Racing giving Stremme a good car tonight, and Stremme's up on the wheel.
And you see the 22 of Brad Keselowski right behind him. That is not for position. Keselowski is 1 lap down in the lucky dog position. He is running 20th.
There's Jeremy Clements in that 51 car running this group down too, having a great night.
Clements is 14th on the track. And behind Clements is Mike Wallace. And here we go side by side, Elliott Sadler and Aric Almirola, as that's the battle for 6th. Sadler trying to clear him and does. Sadler has top 10 finishes in 5 of the 6 short track races this year. Most importantly, though, he's got to find a way to get up to Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, he's going to have a solid night here if everything goes accordingly here to the end, but he's still going to lose points. This guy he's trying to chase down into points, Ricky Stenhouse, having a great night up in 2nd.
Right now, the gap would be 17 based on where they're running. Reed Sorensen would be 46 points behind. There is Ricky. He's a half a second behind Kyle Busch. Let's get the latest on Stenhouse. How about it, Doc?
Remember the beginning of the night when Mike Kelly told Ricky Stenhouse, think of the big picture, buddy. We're thinking about a points championship, $100,000 and a lot more tonight. He said, be smooth. Now, if the 60 gets there and gets beside you and he's got a better car, let him go. Let him go, because we got to think about the big picture, which includes a championship and a lot of money from Nationwide. Dave.
And Doc, Kyle Busch only has one picture. That's winning races in the Nationwide Series. His crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, told me today one of their strengths is communication, telling what's going on. And remember, Kyle's not been happy with his car all night, but they've been tweaking it little by little. And remember, the last run, he wanted it to be a little bit tighter on the get-go so that he could manhandle it a little bit, and it loosened more over time. A better, longer-run car. And so far, it looks like they've achieved that, Marty.
All right, Dave, I want to go back to the words of wisdom to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. because I remember a few races ago where, he was a little aggravated with Carl.
Yeah, but I also think those were words of motivation, because he's not letting Carl Edwards get to him to let him go.
Well, I have to agree, that's a good strategy. If Carl does get to his rear bumper and really pushing for that spot, he's got too much to lose to try to fight him off. And, the championship, the 100,000, as long as he can keep a gap right like he's got, just keep hammer down.
Just 15 laps to go, and here comes Carl.
Yeah, start to see Ricky kind of overdrive maybe the corners just a little bit. It kept getting a little bit harder and harder into the corner, so he lost that. Now he's let Carl go, so he'll go up here and see if he can follow Carl by Kyle Busch if they can catch him.
I don't know. I think Kyle Busch has got something going this run.
And that's Kevin Harvick in the 33 going a lap down. So our winner here last year not going to repeat. Vince, what are you hearing on that 60 car?
Well, they're really unhappy because Carl Edwards has had the dominant car throughout much of this night. He's led 160 laps. But when they came in for that last pit stop and he slammed on the brakes, it pinned the front of the nose. And because of the way the shock reacted, they couldn't get the tire off through the right tire well. And that slowed down their stop. They lost 3 positions in the pits. That's the only thing that's kept Mike Beam and Carl Edwards down tonight because they have been real good on the track.
The margin to first place is 1.1 seconds. Kyle Busch, we've talked about this, I don't know, countless times. They did not have a good car in practice, but he and Jason Ratcliffe worked so well together, you know by night's end, they're going to be there.
Here they are, leading 12 to go. But I think right there, the Carl Edwards, they gave a little bit away on the setup. Got a lot of rebound on that right front shot.
Yeah.
if that slowed the pit stop down.
Like Carl's catching him just a little bit. He beat him almost 2/10 that time.
He was fastest car that last lap. Kyle Busch was second quick, Stenhouse third.
It's got to be hard when you're in a situation like Carl to really be disciplined and not overdrive your car when you're trying to catch somebody, Dale. I don't know what it's like, when you're in this situation, but it seemed like it'd be easy to overdrive it.
And just like last lap, Edwards is the quickest, and it's down to 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that, Andy. It is easy to overdrive, and this is a racetrack, once again, that is easy to overdrive because it looks like you've got so much room to just drive it off in the corner. So especially when you're trying to catch someone, get that little bit of extra out of it, you can just make it too hard, slide the nose in the corner, and get back to the throttle then.
9 laps to go. Danica Patrick about to go a lap down again. She's running in 18th position.
It makes it even harder to run someone down like Kyle Busch, who rarely makes a mistake out there. He's very much in control of his race car, and he just doesn't slip.
And now with Carl trying to deal with lap traffic, the gap right now is 0.7 of a second. And you can see it has closed. But there's 8 laps to go. Kyle gets around Morgan Shepherd. He is 4 laps down in 24th. And here comes Carl. Morgan gives him plenty of room. The battle will continue. Next time by, 6 laps remaining.
They've got about 3 seconds till they catch the next lap car.
The gap holding steady at that last lap at 0.7 of a second.
Running virtual laps right there, just about the same.
Yep. One thing we do know, when Carl has led the most laps this year, he has won all 6 times that has happened. He's led the most laps tonight, but the laps are running out.
Yeah, I'm watching Carl Edwards right now. He's driving harder into the corner than he has all night. We haven't seen any brake heat or anything like that from Carl's car, but he is really diving off in the corner right now, trying to make up his time, getting a little closer.
Next time by, 4 laps remaining. As far as the dash for cash is concerned, Stenhouse Jr. in control right now, running in 3rd. Sadler is 6th. Sorensen is 8th. While this battle has sort of subsided, this one is picking up a little bit. That is the 20 of Ryan Truex. He is 4th. Kenny Wallace is closing in his 5th position. And Elliott Sadler right behind in the 2.
They've got a nice battle here. Kenny Wallace actually caught Ryan Truex a little bit ago. Got up to his quarter panel, but has had to settle back and hasn't been able to get back to his bumper since.
3 laps to go. It is down to a half a second up front. And that's what it looks like on the racetrack. Here comes Carl, but does he have enough time?
They're going to catch a couple of lap cars here in these last 2 laps.
Coming up on Kevin LePage in the 52. And Leffler gives way as well. And next time by, it'll be the white flag. The gap is still at a half a second. Time is going to
flag right here.
One more lap. Kyle Busch was not happy with his race car at the beginning of this day. Did a nice job in qualifying and has worked along with Jason Radcliffe and his crew. And here he comes. Kyle Busch is going to make it look easy. His 51st career win with Carl Edwards second. Third place to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who picks up the nationwide Dash for Cash. And look at how close it is there. Ryan Truex fourth, Kenny Wallace fifth, Elliott Sadler comes home in sixth. And there you see the rest of the top 10 across the top of the screen.
It's the top 10. Good job.
You boys. Oh, you guys, way to dig it in. Good job, Jake.
His 8th win of 2011. Most of all drivers in the series. And let's talk to Jason Radcliffe. How about it, Dave?
Celebrating with his driver, talking about how many Rowdy Busch has won in this series now. 51, that's a big number. You guys weren't there in the middle of the race, and you got it there.
No, we weren't. Big thanks to the Z-Line Design team tonight on pit road. These guys did a well of a job. I mean, good pit stops, and I asked a lot of them. Every stop we had wrenches in the back window, had a lot of air pressure stuff going on. Kyle hung in there, kept communicating well. But like you mentioned, we probably had a third-place car to start the night. We just kept getting better, and man, the pit crew did what they needed to do at the end, and of course Kyle Busch did what he needed to do there at the end. Of course, we got to remember, all of our military and all of our armed service people that give us the freedom to come out here and do this, especially on this weekend, as we think about all the great people that we'll miss, and then all the great people that stood up and were very courageous to go out and do what they did, and they continue to do it today, and that's the freedom that we have to come out here and race. So I'm very thankful for that.
Thanks, Jason. Great thought. And here's one more, Marty. Never bet against the 18.
That's for sure, Dave. There he is with the checkered flag. 51 in that collection right now from the Nationwide Series. The 34th time that he and Jason Radcliffe have teamed up to take that first place prize. How about the Dash for Cash winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Doc?
All right, Ricky Stenhouse in here getting Ricky winning $100,000 in Dash for Cash. I mean, you had a big picture tonight thinking about the point standings and the Dash for Cash, and you were able to excel on both. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we, obviously we needed to finish ahead of the guys that we were racing for in points, and, and we got that Dash for Cash, which is really cool, but I thought we had a little bit for Kyle there at the end. I tried. Thought we had a little bit there for Kyle, man. It started off really good. We were kind of running him down and just lost forward grip. Just not near as good as I think we have been here in the past. But, we had Flight 93 on here, and we want to remember all the in 9/11. It was a tragic day, and just glad that, we still got our freedom to come out here and race. But it was a tough battle, but definitely glad that Nationwide is doing this Dash for Cash, because it pays pretty good.
And on top of the $100,000 from Nationwide, his point lead is now 16 points, so he continues to add to it. And by the way, he was smiling a moment ago. That was Carl Edwards who came down to say hello. Let's go up and talk with him with Vince.
Tell you what, he had the dominant car throughout much of the night tonight, led 160 of the 250 laps, but you came in on for that last pit stop and lost 3 spots. What happened there?
They had a little bit of trouble with the right front tire. It was up in the fender well. They said, my guys are the best pit crew on pit road. They put me out front almost every stop. So, this is just racing, but man, this Fastenal Mustang was so good. And I got to thank Ricky. He didn't hold me up. When I was coming there at the end, he let me at least have a shot at Kyle, but those guys earned it. They got faster all night, and we had a little bit of trouble. It's like our car went away just a little bit.
How good was it during that stretch, though?
Hey, it was pretty good. That was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. I really did have a good time. And I got to say thank you so much for Fastenal, for them putting the Steven Siller Foundation on this car. What the Siller Foundation does is builds homes for quadriplegic folks that get hurt in battle over there, our soldiers. And we've got John Peck on the deck lid, and we wanted to get this trophy for you really bad, John. We gave it our best effort in your honor, and second place is nothing to to be ashamed of, but this car was so fast. I wish we had one more caution, get another shot at him, but Kyle did a really good job. Everybody raced clean and just had a fun night of racing.
Just a little short tonight. Jamie?
Well, we caught up with Kevin Harvick as he makes his way back to the Cup Garage. Up and down night. Started off, you were mad about the way that car handled, but you worked your way up to 5th. You guys worked on it, but then the 38 came into the picture. What in the world happened between you two?
Well, I just made a mistake and got in there too fast and got in the back of him and turned him around. That was pretty much, he had a right to be mad, and that was my fault. And then, I tried to take my time in getting around him, and he brake checked me down there, and I had to check up, and the 16 got in the back of me, and then a couple laps later, the 16 got in back of me and got me into the fence with the right rear and the right front, and as it came off the wall, I turned him. Just one of those deals, and hate the way that it all turned out. But all in all, it's short track racing, I guess.
Watching the replay, does anything change now that you're not the owner? Going back, you don't have to worry about the car anymore?
I still own him for 7 weeks.
Oh, 7 more weeks. He's still the owner on the race cars, Marty.
Great point, Jamie. And Kevin still manages to find a smile on that. And let's check in now at One Main Financial Victory Lane, because Kyle Busch has finally made it there. He's got a couple flat tires after burning them down, but here he comes.
Yeah, the car came in here looking a little cattywampus, as they say, but that was a good thing based on what happened here tonight. You got the car there, and it wasn't there in the middle of the race. You and Jason were patient, and you stuck with it.
Yeah, these guys, Jason Ratcliffe and these guys, that's why we just keep digging, to keep trying to do what we can with these Z-Line Designs Camrys, and can't say enough about this team. And guys on pit road, Jason making all the adjustments tonight, what a flawless job. And, getting Z-Line, Jim and Monica with us and having fun, and Nos Energy Drink, Toyota. Nationwide Insurance, and my smoking hot wife's around here somewhere, I think. So
she didn't want to get wet over here.
Yeah, she didn't want to get wet, but thank Pizza Ranch, Gillette, and the fans, of course, too, and all of our loss that we've had on 9/11 weekend. This is for those people, and also for their families. But all the men and women serving across the country certainly means a lot to give us our freedom to come out here to have fun and enjoy it, and to celebrate like this sometimes when it's good for us and may not be so great for others.
Yeah, they pick us up. And Kyle Busch picked up the 18 team tonight. 4th win here at Richmond in the Nationwide Series.
So the celebration will continue for Kyle Busch, as we want to remind you, coming up next will be Baseball Tonight right here on ESPN2. Our ticket to the race, as we'll head for Chicago next week. If you're in the area, hope that you'll come on out and say hello. And the events are winding down. Just 7 to go. Dover, Kansas, Charlotte, Texas, Phoenix, and we'll wrap it up at Homestead Miami Speedway. How about it, Vince? Let's talk to Kenny Wallace.
First top 5 since 2008. How did you do it?
We just hard work and perseverance. I want to thank Federated Auto Parts and my Toyota Camry. That's the key to it. A team determined like me, losing weight and get physically fit. Mentally, this is a big comeback for me. I'm excited.
Yeah, great performance from Kenny and Scott Zipadelli, the crew chief, tonight. Doc?
And how about Ryan Truex here, 19 years old. Now let's start. The night began, a car cranked and then cut off. You had to have a backup ignition. You start 42nd and finish 4th. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
It helps when you got a good car. These guys at Joe Gibbs Racing just work so hard, and they build such great race cars, and it's just a pleasure to be able to drive them and be out there racing with these guys. And we started off and had to come from 42nd, like you said, and I just took my time, was patient, just made my way to the front. And like I said, we had an awesome car. Can't thank these guys enough. Schick Extreme 3, got to thank them for being on board. Our car looked awesome, and just a good night. I'm happy.
This is all about learning, and only your 19th career start. But what did you learn tonight? Only your second ever start here at Richmond on the short track in a Nationwide car. That's going to help you down the road.
Yeah. I think it helped me a lot with just tire strategy and being able to save my stuff. Long runs we were really good, and it was just for me saving the right rear the whole beginning of the run. We weren't the fastest car on short runs, but as we'd run and keep going and making laps, we'd start catching those guys. They'd all come back to us. So can't thank these guys enough, and just happy to be here.
Well done, Marty. How about a bright future for this young man?
Hey, he's also in the dash for cash at Charlotte. It'll be Ricky Stenhouse, Ryan, Kenny Wallace, and Elliott Sadler. $100,000 still up for grabs. How about the points? Well, it's now 16, as Doc pointed out, between first and second, and now 45 all the way back to third for Reed Sorensen. So time for the 32 team. They're going to have to really pick it up. Guys, quickly, final thought.
Great race there to the end, and just shows Kyle Busch and his team how good they are working on the car throughout the race.
Sprint Cup Series action from Richmond tomorrow night here, 7 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Coming up next, it's Baseball Tonight. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For entire ESPN crew, I'm Marty Reed. Till we meet again.